Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Southern Outdoorsman Podcast. I didn't tell these guys this before we started, but this is our year-ender podcast, so we're about to have a really good time. These are always fun. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing super well. So now, we got some fun guys on the podcast that I'm excited to talk to and to tell some deer stories and a little bit.
You see what I did there? I just pitched it to Jacob, so I made him say your last name.
Listen, Pablo.
Pablo Esquivel.
There you go.
Escobar.
Okay.
Almost like it's borderline.
It's deer killer. Listen, hey. Then we got Daniel Williams on the podcast.
Yeah.
But anyways, from Cedar Ridge Texture, Cedar Ridge Chronicles, Cedar Ridge everything. But yeah, super excited to have you guys on here. By the way, we had a listener, actually a couple of listeners reach out to us. When you shot it was either talking to Daniel here, your first or second buck this year. I can't remember which one, but they were like, was that based off annual data? And
not Missouri.
No, well, not your Missouri. I'm talking your Alabama bucks.
Oh, absolutely.
So, okay, because we had people asking, like, did you have data? And I was like, I'm going to save it for the podcast because I haven't asked them quite yet. But
yeah, the first one was 3 days later. The last one was to the day.
To the day.
From 1 year ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, that was episode 584. Again, kind of talk about annual patterns with mature bucks. Y'all go check that out. It's on YouTube, all audio platforms.
To put it in a nutshell, to make you go listen to it, the whole thing is like if you got, like you mentioned a guy earlier, getting pictures of deer on like December 4th, like bucks coming through December 4th, you should go December 4th next year and be there, right?
Yeah, regardless of sign, regardless of anything you find, it's time to hunt.
No matter what, no matter weather, no matter moon.
Nothing. Just you hunt there.
Actually, maybe we should have him tell a story about the guy.
Okay, tell a story real quick before we get into it.
Of the guy the other day?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, like he had got this lease down the road from me, and I've hunted the property around it in the past. And I killed 8 bucks in 6 years. 4 of them were on December the 4th. And my time frame was the 2nd through the 7th. That's when all the bucks showed up and didn't have any the rest of the year. Well, he got this land and called asking about when he needed to hunt it, what he needed to do. Well, it was December the 4th when he called me. And I was like, you need to be there now, like right today. And he said, well.
You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like go right now. Leave work.
And he talked about it was going, with his son somewhere else that afternoon. I was like, well, if you can't be there tomorrow, whatever, but you need to be over there now. Well, he ended up, his wife's going to watch his son. He's going to go on over there and sit on his green field. So he went over there, and sure enough, 2 hours after he'd been there, he done killed the biggest buck he's ever shot. Called me just losing his mind. And there was no, his camera had run out of batteries the week before. He didn't have any kind of data. He didn't know anything. But if you know those dates, it doesn't matter what's going on. Like the doe, when those does in that spot are in estrus, they're going to go into estrus. It doesn't matter anything. Like I haven't found anything that changes that. There may not be sign because of food, because of water, drought, whatever. But the doe estrus cycles, I've never seen change ever.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a good point. I wanted to bring that up right off the bat because a lot of people, especially in Alabama, especially in your part of Alabama, have been struggling to find sign this year. It seems like a down year. I've struggled with it this year. It's been a really tough year as far as any kind of buck sign goes or feed sign. We had the drought. A lot of our oak trees around here aborted their mass crops this year. And so there's just no acorns on the ground whatsoever. And, you can find them from time to time, but it's a lot harder than it has been the last couple of years. Other people have the opposite problem. They've got too many on the ground. Mm-hmm. But pretty much everyone dealt with this drought. And most of the people I've been talking to across the board, really across the Southeast, it's just a down year for when it comes to buck sign. Yeah. But you're saying, that does not matter. They're just not laying down sign.
I was interested to see what would happen this year because of what I've known about the last few years, because it's new to me where I'm hunting. And when I went in there this year with no sign, there the bucks were. I ended up killing 2 in 1 week, should have killed 3. So it's just, it doesn't change. It really doesn't change. It's kind of discouraging watching these poor guys go in there to their favorite places. There's no sign, and they bounce, and they're out. And I'm like, man, I just want to. It's
kind of like exactly what I was just talking to Jacob about possibly doing tomorrow.
Yeah. It's like, man, just give me the pin, let me go in there. Y'all go over here where you think you need to be, and let's just see what happens. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to prove my point. I just want it for me. Let's just try this.
And what do you think it is this year when it comes to the sign? Do you think it is the drought?
I think it's 100%. I think a lot of it is the drought. It's usually either drought or food, and it's a little bit of both this year. And I think that they just don't feel comfortable. And anytime they don't, then they're not just happy-go-lucky out making a bunch of sign thinking about breeding. Their breeding is just, and that's why a lot of the bucks that I'm mounting, the bucks that I killed, did not have black hocks. Their hormones are just not there but they're still behind does. You know what I mean? If a hot doe comes walking through and the bucks just aren't swelled up and got black stinky hocks, a hot doe comes through. I mean, a buck will breed her in July. You know what I mean? He don't have to be rutting himself, but I think that's why they're. But there again, the estrus. I'm interested to know if there's any experts out there that would know. I know you can put a doe into estrus, like in a high fence and stuff, but I wonder if that estrus cycle is going to come through regardless of circumstance to a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because from what I'm seeing, the bucks seem to have less hormones going on this year than the does. The does are still consistent, and the bucks are there with them.
And that's because of the drought.
I'm assuming any kind of stress. I mean, any kind of stress is going to change that. Usually on the years with really good water, really good food, there's so much sign you don't even know where to sit.
Yeah, Michael Perry's talked about that, and we've had other guests in the past when like you have a really good acorn crop year and also just a pretty wet year where you have plenty of moisture and there's a lot of grain growth. That those are the years when you have typically the hardest ruts, as in like heaviest activity.
Yeah.
But also if there's abundance of food, it kind of distributes the deer pretty wide.
Right.
So you could still have a really heavy rut, but if you're not in that right spot where those does want to be, you might not have a great hunt. But the drought years, and there's like the stress, like you were talking about, like the body weight's being down, and even like the quality of bucks being killed seem to be down, potentially having to do with the stress of the drought. Because I mean, we say a drought. It was dry for a majority of the state. I mean, going back to almost July in a lot of these places, and even early in the summer, it was dry.
Yeah.
We had some spattering rain, but nothing heavy. All the way through almost October. Into October, it was extremely dry. So, the October point doesn't really matter because they've already grown their antlers. But during the summertime, when they're trying to, bulk up and build those antlers, not having a ton of great food sources has been a big issue. And also, you mentioned something earlier, just while we're on this topic, about guys that are killing deer on public land that are somewhat close to private land versus way out in the middle of it, seem like completely different sign, completely the bucks looking different.
Tons of sign closer to private and food, anywhere there's food, and tons of just scrapes and rubs. I mean, they're just everywhere. Whereas you go places where there's not food and there's nothing. I mean, the deer are there, but there's just not the sign. And also the hawks. Like I said, the deer that I'm getting in that are being killed off of public and off of anywhere close to, off of private or close to private or where there's good food sources, those bucks seem to be black hawks stinking. I mean, like full-blown, what we would consider full-blown rut. And I think that's the difference between some years people say we just didn't have much of a rut this year. All the does get bred. You know what I mean? The bucks are still breeding. There's just, you don't see the rut unless you are right there when a buck comes through chasing a doe. So what most people are considering the rut is just a whole bunch of sign, and it's always the same. It's just whether or not the bucks, I think, are hormoned up, and in that mood to just tear the woods to pieces.
Interesting. Yeah, we predicted that we were going to get a bunch of listener success stories this year from episode 584, which is the one we did with you about those annual patterns, and we did.
I hope so.
We got a pile of them.
Really, I was hoping it would help. 'Cause, I mean, I know 6 or 8 guys that have killed this year already. That straight up, I had a guy bring me a buck yesterday. As a matter of fact, he listened to that episode. That's how he actually found my shop. Was he had listened to the episode we all, and brought me a giant. He killed. It was like he had this buck on camera like last year, like on that same like 3-4 day period. Went in there, man, and he was like, "Man, this is freaking awesome."
The guy, you don't tell us now, but I want to know if that guy wrote in a listener success story.
I actually asked him. He said he was going to.
Okay,
so
we hope so.
Oh,
Yeah.
you listen. I better see it in the inbox when I start going through them here in a week or two.
I mean, a giant from Alabama.
huh?
It was from Alabama. Oh, yeah. I want to see
all
that.
of all of these were.
Daggum. All right. Okay. Interesting. All right, Pablo.
Yo,
Dude, I'm so excited to have you on.
man, yeah, I'm super happy. How long we've been waiting for this? For like 3
It's
years,
2
or
years.
so?
Yeah, well, so
2
you've actually been on the podcast before. You're on episode 500. We had people coming through at the World Deer Expo.
Yes, yeah. We did that short.
Yeah, and we talked. I actually think we talked a little bit more about hunting monkeys.
It was
No.
it was the weird, like the wrong approach.
I mean, I liked the monkey hunting conversation.
Yeah.
Like, where are you from? Is it Costa Rica?
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, if you want to bring it all the way back from the beginning.
I
pretty
really,
much.
I want to rehash the monkey hunting.
Okay. Well, so I was born and raised in Costa Rica. Just a really pretty place, to be honest, when it comes to nature and things like that. Hunting is illegal. Any kind of hunting is illegal. Having guns is honestly illegal. So I pretty much just grew up with slingshots and blowguns, right? So it was one of those things, man, that I just like to whack him all, man, like any living thing out there, And we used to eat him. My mom used to cook it for me. Not monkeys, yeah, no. But the monkeys are like squirrels and chipmunks, man. They will destroy everything outside your house, like the wires, they make a lot of damage, So I hate them suckers. Like I seriously did, and I just couldn't stand it. And I got so good, man, because I got these river rugs that were round like marbles. And dude, with that slingshot, it was made out of a coffee plant. And I'm telling you, man, it was just like you're in there, and then suddenly you hear them just running on the roof, man. You got to go out there like a drug bust, just kick that door out and boom, start slinging, dude. And I mean, then dudes are just like, falling down, falling down everywhere. And it's like, dude, it's like ants. They just keep coming, like by the dozen. So you just get good at it. I mean, you have no other choice. Some of the guys never liked it. They were like, man, you're a killer. Like, you really mean and all that. And I was like, no, honestly not. I just don't like to be messed with in the house. But anyways, when I came to the States, can we?
But however you want to.
Okay, so my mom got married to my stepdad. And they're like, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go. Then we're going to apply for your legal documents. Just wait right here. Everything is going to go through. Well, several years went by, and I just thought that it was never going to happen. So I finished high school, and I went into sport fishing. That's what I went to community college for, because down there is a fisherman paradise, to be honest, like freshwater and saltwater, just the best that you will ever find. And when I grabbed it's kind of like the ACT book, just grab it, and I was like, nope, because it was all math and all that stuff. I was just, no, picked up sport fishing, So I did sport fishing for 2 years, every day, pretty much, like deep sea fishing. I've been on a commercial fishing vessel for 30 days and all that stuff. Graduated as a deckhand, and well, I was just gonna keep on with my life. At the time, I'm 21 years old. I had a life and all that stuff. I got goals and dreams. My goal was becoming a captain from a sport fishing vessel. And so only one day I got a call from my mom. She's like, boy, we got an appointment at the U.S. Embassy. So I was like, cool, whatever. We're probably just going to get in there. Somebody's going to say something, just whatever. And then we're going to come back out, and I'm just going to keep doing my thing. And I do it 2 days later. I'm leaving my whole life behind me, jumping on a plane, And I swear to God, dude, my knees were shaking, because I didn't know the language. I didn't know where I was going. I'd never been to it. So we flew, landed on Dallas, and Dallas to Huntsville. Made it home about 10:30 at night. Woke up next morning having breakfast with my stepdad, right? And he's like, all right, boys, sit down. We're going to talk. I said, cool. Of course, at the time, my mom is translating because I don't understand and I don't speak English, right? And my stepdad is like, man, you have 90 days to get a job, get a driver license, learn a little bit of the language, find an apartment, and get a car. I just kind of look at my mom, and then I was like, and she's like, he's being serious. Like, you have 90 days to make that happen. And dude, I just thought, I was like, well, crap, this is impossible. I mean, like, you know what I mean? I was like,
no way.
There's no way that this is going to happen. And the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, a Mexican restaurant. They speak Spanish. Somebody's going to teach me English. And somehow I'm going to make it happen. So I go in this place out there in Decatur. And I walk in and I said, hey, I'm looking for the manager. This dude comes up and I said, man, I need a job. Listen, I do not speak English. but I will clean the floors. I will clean the dishes. I do anything you want me to, but I really need a job. He's like, I really like that attitude. I'm going to make you a waiter. And I said, dude, I just told you, I don't speak English. He's like, don't worry. I'm going to put you with this girl. She's going to train you and all that stuff. Little did I know I was standing in front of my wife that day at that place, right? And it was like the what is the name, Billy Madison movie with the board and all that stuff. She was teaching me everything back again. My wife is from Mexico, so she was speaking Spanish and teaching me English and all that stuff. And 90 days later, I had all the requirements that Rick asked me for, plus an extra one that I was moving in the apartment with my wife, since then. And dude, I failed my driver license test 4 times. Because dude, I didn't understand.
That explains a few things.
Yeah, I didn't understand. During my break on the restaurant, I had the driver license manual and a dictionary on the side, just trying to make sense out of it. Just trying to translate some words and put sentences together and things like that. And the lady was like, okay, 3-point maneuver. And I was like, just keep driving straight, And eventually she was like, right.
See,
And I was like, okay, and just keep driving, dude. And I just completely out of the route on the other side of town. She was like, no, get on the passenger side, Man, and I feel so bad for that lady because the 4th time she was like, oh my God, here we go. Here's Pablo.
same person.
Yeah, yes. He was like, here's Pablo again. He was like, listen, buddy, I really want you to pass this time. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And eventually I got it. And then I was telling my stepdad, man, I really like the hunt and all that. He gave me a BB gun. And I was walking as squirrels, man, on the backyard of the house like crazy, everything. And he was like, son, there's public land. You can go kill deer. And I was like, do what? Like, what is that? He said, it's public land. And I said, how much you got to pay for? It was like, it's public. You can go in and kill a deer. You just got to take your hunter education courses and all that stuff, and you're good to go. So I was like, you telling me there's a spot that I don't have to pay and I can go kill? He was like, yes. And I was sold, right? I mean, like, done deal. Well, got ready and came across, at the time it was DirecTV, right? I didn't have no social media and I don't like that. So it was this Midwestern TV shows about deer hunting. Dude, down there at the time, talking about a deer, it was like a ghost, right? It was a weird thing, and whenever somebody had a chance to whack one of them, it was like 1 in a million, And even though the hunting was illegal, but it was so hard because it's a jungle-looking like place, right? So these guys on the Midwest, they're doing all these things, man, and that's what I'm learning. Even though that it's not gonna work for me, but at the time I didn't know that. I'm just watching these guys and man, I didn't even understand what they're talking about because at the time I'm still not really fluent in English, right? So I'm just kind of like looking at the videos and catching a few words and all that. Well, these dudes are spraying, and I get ready, man. It's my first day hunting. So I go to Walmart and I ask the lady, I said, deer pee, and she said, yeah. And she said, right here, and I got this stuff and I was like, okay, this is it. She gave me the big bottle. And I go there, man, get out of the truck by like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I start spraying doe estrus on all over, like taking a shower. And I'm gagging, and I'm like, God, doe, this is stout, I was like, this is stout, man. I said, but that's what they're doing, Dude, they were spraying scent killer. Well, I didn't know that. Do you know what I mean? Hey, I didn't know the difference, and I was just with doe estrus.
You're like, these are some real men doing this stuff.
And I was like, you got to do what you got to do. So I was out there on this place, rattling antlers and doing all kinds of crap. Dude, I never saw a deer for 3 years. 3 consecutive seasons. I just couldn't connect. And eventually I started getting a little bit closer, and I was like, what is this? And at the time I already had a phone, and I kind of know how to use it because I never had one before in my life. And I was like, what deer poop looks like. And I was like, oh my God, that's poop. I'm close. I'm really close. And man, one day I go on this place and I'm set up there, and out of nowhere there's a deer. Like there's a deer right there. Like I'm actually seeing a deer, and dude, I thought I was gonna have a seizure attack, you know, because I just like, oh my god, there's a deer, and dude, the thing stands up and it got horns on it. So I'm about to like start bleeding out of my nose. Like, it's been 3 years, man. Dude, it's been 3 years, dude. And the thing walks like literally 5 yards, and I'm with a bow, self-taught as well. I learning how to shoot a bow, self-taught, man. I put a couple arrows through the side of the house, man. You know, see, I can see it happen, you know. And man, I released and I missed, dude. And I missed him. He was right there. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, I cried, and I cried so hard because I was like, it's been 3 years.
Came down to that
And
moment.
I have the opportunity to kill a buck, not even a doe, a buck. And I blew it, man. I was devastated. And I told my wife, screw this, I ain't doing this no more. This is just stupid, yada, yada. By the third day, I was off that whole week. She was like, you're not going to go back to the forest? And I was like, no, this is stupid. I'm doing that back again. She was like, what about if you just go and at least just walk around and clear your mind a little bit? I said, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm a man, and this is what I said. This is what I do, you know. But I said she went to work, and it was like 9:30, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to go walk. At the time, I had a climber. Didn't know much about it. My thing was made out of steel. So within 100 yards of the truck, your arms are numb. You know, you pretty much like got no blood circulations, you know, because it was so heavy. So I didn't carry it with me. And I went to the place where I missed that buck. And I walked by 100 yards south, something like that. And I just sat on the ground. Just sat with the stump behind me. And it was a small privilege right in front of me. Dude, I remember this like if it was yesterday. A small privilege right there, and I'm breaking limbs and playing with dirt, to be honest, just thinking about it. There was a small ditch on the right side. It got dark, like, you know, it's about 4 o'clock. It was already like sun going down. And I could feel, at the time I didn't even know about thermals. And I could feel a breeze, you know. Of course, thermals are pulling down on the ditch. And I'm just there doing my thing with sand. My bow was sitting on my lap. I'm sitting on the ground. And I heard something, and I just thought it was a squirrel. When I look up, it was that buck. And he's walking straight to me about 20 yards. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I can't even find the
drop
release.
your dirt.
And I'm doing this, you know, trying to clip my release. And he's standing about 15 yards, like bobbing his head at me, you know, like, what is that thing? Dude, I don't remember seeing the pip side or nothing. I just drew back, let him have it, and it smoked him. He takes off running and piles up. Well, then I'm realizing like I'm having a heart attack. You know, they're gonna find us both dead right here together. You know, so I run to it and I was like, it is dead. Like he is dead, dude. I gotta get out of here because I'm gonna die too. So I left him. Right, I left him in there and just went out. And calm down, dude. I swear to God, I thought that I was gonna pass out. You know, like I was like, oh my, and I called my wife and I was like, honey, I just killed him and all that stuff. She was like, and instead of being like, oh my God, congratulations, she was like, are you sure you kill him? Like, are you sure you kill him? Like, did you miss again? And I was like, and she got in my head, man. And I was like, man, he might have been just shocked. You know, and he just laying there, and now he stood up and he left. Well, I didn't have onyx, nothing like that. I can't remember where I was sitting at, so I'm walking on the forest with my cell phone because I didn't have a headlamp, trying to remember what was the stump where I was
In the
on.
dark.
In the dark.
Oh, no.
It's already like 8:30, and I'm crying, dude. And I was about to give up, and I stopped, and I was like, oh my, it was a blood trail about this big, dude, and I didn't even see him, you know. And I stopped, and there he was, like 2 yards away from me. I was about to lose my mind, dude. Like, I mean, I felt like, you know what it's just this undescribable. I shoulder mount that book, and it's nothing but a 2.5-year-old book. And it's an 8.2.5-year-old book, and it's right there in the living room because that was the first, like, actual accomplishment in public, you know, with a bow on the ground. And after that, going back, I remember when I was working in construction, which is a different story because I left the restaurant, right? And I was like, I already know how to speak English, which I didn't. You know, I did not. I just knew like a yes, no, okay, you know, things like that. And he looked like a gangster stand up because he's just nothing but signs, you know. You know what I mean? And I had
You smile and nod.
yeah, and things like that, man. And I had a handbook, and I was drawing tools on the handbook, and I was like, "How do you spell this?" And they were like, "Hammer," writing things on the side and all that, because that was the only way to learn, right? But I go get a job in construction just to realize that I'm coming from a metric system, and we use a standard right here. So I was like, "Crap," you know. Back to square zero.
Another nosebleed.
Yeah. I was like, you
nosebleed.
gotta be kidding me, dude. Like, now you gotta learn yards and you gotta learn inches and you gotta learn feet. And, well, I get by it, you know, start getting better. There was some hiccups here and there, you know, especially when, like, the foreman was like, we got to take care of this piece right here. And I was like, okay, whoa, busted it out. He was like, no, okay, go out, go back to, don't come back, you know. And then, like, hammer. Yeah. I didn't understand. Next morning, 6:30, I was there again, you know. And he was like, Jesus Christ. You know,
couldn't even fire him.
yeah. He's like a stray dog, you know. He just keeps showing up. Like, you just cannot run, dude. And as the years kept going, you know, I kept getting better at it. And I started from like nothing. Then I became a concrete finisher. You know, by the time I was already good, I was talking a lot better. And when I was doing the concrete, we did some work for a gentleman up there in Moulton. Well, we were doing a job around the courthouse, like asphalt, everything, the whole shebang. This gentleman comes by. He was like, "Hey, man, can I do some side jobs and whatever?" The foreman is like, "You want to make some side money on Saturday? You just got to pour a sidewalk and do a couple things for this gentleman." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." My stepdad was the owner of the company, so we go up there. We're prepping the stuff, and my stepdad comes out and he's like, "Hey, son, let me show you something. You want to come over here?" So I said, "Cool." And I go on the backside of the house and enter a living room like this, and it's full of giants. That's Mr. Tony Meyer's house. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, man, did you sell them? And yeah, he's like, no, you know, and he talked a little bit about me, and I was just blown away by it. But at the same time, I was really busy, so I have to go. Well, another year goes by, and I said, Rick, that's my stepdad's name. I said, do you remember that gentleman out there in Moulton? He said, yeah. I said, does he still living in the same place? He was like, I don't know. I said, well, I'm fixing to go find it, you know, because I remember, you know, all the deer. He hunts up there, so I want to know. He's like, dude, I went against his advice, and I was like, this is the house. I remember that concrete. I'm going to knock on the front door, nobody. And I was like, I remember I came in the back, man, but you have to get in here. And I was like, well, I'm fixing to get shot, or I'm going to find Mr. Tony, but something's going to happen, you know. And, dude, I went back there, knocked on the door, and Miss Donna came out. And being so nice and sweet that she is all the time. I mean, look, if she was a stereotype, you look at me, you know, tatted up, right? And
with 911.
Yes. Yeah, with an accent, too. You know, it's like ice. You know, something like that, right? Right? And Miss Donna comes out, and she's like, can I help you? You know, and I was like, is this the residence of Mr. Tony Meyer? She was like, yes, it is. But he's hunting right now. And I was like, okay, I'll be back later on. Came back, and dude, Mr. Tony recognized me. He was like, hey, buddy, I remember you come in. And man, next thing you know, Mr. Tony, Mr. Michael Perry, Mr. Jamie McKay, Danny Williams, y'all, Michael Pike, Parker McDonald, Shane Parker, you name it, the list of people that I just cannot name in here because this will be so long, you know. And since then, it's been pretty much like I've been living a dream, dude, that I just do not want to wake up of it, to be honest. Of course, it's been a lot of hiccups, still having hiccups, especially when it comes to hunting. And Daniel is my witness.
I know you make me nervous just being around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous sitting right here beside you.
I'm sorry.
Something's about to happen.
Daniel, you have no idea what I just done. He's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I get those calls, but every time I see his name, I'm like, he's either done killed a big buck or he's in a lot of trouble.
Dude, the other day, listen, hey, the other day I said, it was, what was it? It was, I want to say it was Friday last week. Maybe. I texted him. I was just messing with Daniel by 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was going to go help
That was the one day I didn't hunt.
Yeah. So I was up at 6:30 just getting ready to go do some work at the farm. And I said, I'm going to mess with Daniel. And I say, I just dropped a monster, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's the one day I didn't hunt all week. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm about to drive to Pablo.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there trying to call him. I'm like, oh my, like I'm
And
going.
He's like, no way. And I said, look at the pic, because he called me. He's like, I'm about to send you a picture, and it's a monster on the ground. Like one of the energy drinks.
Yeah, a can of a monster. He said, because I called him like as soon as I got there, with no way, and I called him. And he's like, you got the picture of it yet? I said, no, not yet. He said, should be coming. And he kind of laughed, and I was like, because I figured he'd be more fired up,
Yeah.
You killed that big buck last year. You was losing. You couldn't even talk. And I get the picture, and it's a Monster energy drink laying
Dude,
there.
listen, that big buck, the one that I killed in Tennessee, that's the biggest deer that I ever kill. 3 days in Tennessee. Haven't seen anything. At the third day, it's about what, 3:30?
I was in my shop.
I get a text from Daniel, a huge pain point. He's like, I don't told you to stay on this place right here, but you never listen. This guy killed that buck right there on that spot that I told you to stay on, but you got to go across the road. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do this no more.
Really? That's what the text said?
Literally.
So I really think I'm just going to sell all my stuff. I'm so discouraged right now.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't doing this no more. This is stupid. He's like, I don't told you. Blah, 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 blah. And dude, put my phone up and raised my head, and I see
This was not 10 minutes.
Yes, literally. I seen some movement on the pine thicket, which it was like a transition area with a heavy thicket, pine thickets, about saplings about this big, and then an open area with hardwoods. I seen some movement, and I was like, that's a squirrel. And I seen it again. Yeah. And I said, that's
100%.
Yeah. I said, that's a deer. It's a doe. And if she gives me a shot, I'm fixing to kill her. Right. And because I said, I got to go home tonight, and I'm going home empty handed. If she gives me a shot, she's going down. So, dude, I put her in the scope, and she stands up and just kind of like shakes a little bit like that. She was bedded down. And I said, doe, yes. And right behind, like literally on her butt, antlers. All right, so then I'm losing it again, and I'm like, God, it's me again. Yeah, please. Yeah, God, it's me again. I was like, God, it's me again. Please let me kill this buck. And dude, they start walking, and they're walking on the nastiest crap that I just cannot shoot. There's a window, seriously, about this big around in between all them bushes and all that stuff that I can shoot. I'm picking on the left side of the tree, and there they come. There she goes through, and then I move to the right side of the tree and prong. Well, the opening is closed on this side, and the buck is going through it. So I have to like literally do like an Evel Knievel maneuver, like swap hands with the rifle. Instead of shooting right, just shooting lefty like that, and boom, dude, I drop him, like hit him high on the spine, drop him, and I seen the leg kicking. So I literally like bungee jump myself out of the saddle, right? Because I said I gotta go take another shot on him because he's fixing to take off running.
I forgot.
I'm running, dude. I'm running full speed, and suddenly I'm flat on my stomach, like knock the wind out of myself. I don't know what's happening, dude. My pull-up rope, I was still attached to it. No, so I took off running, and the thing just got tension on it. Boom. Flat on my dude, I'm like, picking my stuff up and go and put another shot. And I immediately called Daniel, dude, freaking out. I was like,
Well, that was the next text. It said, I hate this. I think I'm just going to sell everything. I'm so sick of this. I'm so discouraged right now. And 10 minutes later, I'm in my shop. I get a text that says, I just shot a monster. And I was like, who sent me this? I was like, this can't be Pablo. I was like, I think I text back, what are you talking about? Or something like that. And you called me and you were like losing your mind, but you didn't have good service. The phone cut off and I was like, he just shot a monster.
Yep.
Then you called me and it had service. They're telling me you just killed a big one and all that stuff. You're like, I got to go. I'm pretty sure he's dead, but I got to go. I got to go check on him.
Yeah. Dude.
Then I got the picture of him. Now tell him, go back to where the spot was where the buck got killed that I told you need to sit there. Tell him about you going in there when I sent you in there the day before.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I go in there. There's a giant scrape. And I was like, oh, my God.
No, we got
Daniel,
historical. I know.
Yeah. Daniel is like, right here.
Go to
right
this
now.
pen, this day.
Like, do it, And I said, yes, sir. So I get in there and I'm there. 5 does, dude. 5 does come up and hit the scrape. And I was like, there, boom. But here's the thing. I hit back or something like that. Boom. So he kind of like settled down and he got, like you said, he got Western, dude. I'm shaking. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. Put his chest, boom, boom, and she's running, boom, boom, like 12 shots. Oh my god, dude! Yeah, the whole bunks, and I bet you everybody was like, I'm wondering what's going on in that holler, So I was like, good, got me a doe. I said, Daniel, I just shot a deer. What are you doing? Because I said I just shot a doe. What are you doing?
I was like, what are you doing?
It's the rod, don't show. And I was like, well, dang it, he's right. Dude, here's the thing.
It gets worse.
So I climbed down and I said, well, she stumbled right here and it looks like a landfill, like somebody been popping mines because I've been shooting on the ground, all that stuff. My scope was up. That's what I was hitting. And I raised my headlamp on the scrape and there's a puddle of pee, like a big puddle of pee right on the scrape. And I turned right and there's a bug standing right there looking at me. And it's dark, and I was like, of course you got to show up now. And I was like, dude, he takes off running. Anyways, I never found it, though. I never did.
No,
like, we
left.
couldn't even, she stood up and gone, even though that I sent like 12 shots. And I hit like 1, maybe, because my scope was off. But Daniel was so mad, like, he was like, what were you thinking? I was like, I don't know. I just seen brown, and I was like, down.
Well, let's go back again. Why your gun was off? Remember when I asked you when the last time you sighted the gun in?
Oh yeah, he said, when was the last time you sighted?
Now this gun was. Go back to how you got the gun.
It was a gift from my stepdad and my mom. My first gun ever in my life when I was 22 years old. Here's a 30-06 Remington 77. And I just got it and shot. Then he said, when was the last time you sighted this thing in? And I said, never done it.
He said, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I said, like, sighted it in, like, shot at a target. He's like,
A deer?
I've never done it.
Yeah.
He said, you mean a deer? I said, no, like a target, like to see where your scope is. No. I was like, so you've never shot this gun at a target since you owned it? I said, when did you get it? It's like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, and it was used then.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, oh, no.
Never been clean.
Like,
so I got
yeah, because Jeremy asked you. He brought the gun over to show us. Because I was like, what kind of scope have you got? Because he couldn't get the scope to sight in. I was like, what kind of scope is this?
They look at the barrel and that thing looks like the entrance of a coal mine.
And Jeremy gets it, takes a bolt out, looks at it, he said, my God, man, when's the last time you cleaned this spot?
I was like, what?
What do you mean clean? It was like the sight conversation. What do you mean clean?
Yeah.
Jeremy's like run an oil rag through it or anything.
It
I
was
like,
so funny, man.
You couldn't see the twist in the barrel.
You can see the rifle?
No.
Oh, my God.
It was covered up.
Smooth bore.
No, and I'm talking about hunting in the rain. I don't know how many shots you taken through that thing over the years.
Yeah, everywhere, dude. Like, I mean, it's just like my bow. My bow, you look at it, and you're like, yeah, that bow's been tumbling down the ground, a couple of times. Because it happened, dude.
I went hunting with you one time during bow season. You dropped it that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, I dropped it. Like my pull-up rope, something happened on it, and it snapped right where the carabiner attaches to it. And I dropped my bow from 18 feet high, and it went down, hit the ground, bounces, and I was like, there it is. It's a Matthews V3. I said, that's it, dude. Came back down, pick it up. And against my common sense, I drew back on it and shot. The thing was good. I took it to the store. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. They're like, dude, you got so lucky. And I was like, I guess, like, I don't know.
Wasn't that the day we were hunting together when you dropped out of that tree? Mm-hmm. Because that was the day you got out of the truck. Now,
And drop it.
Yeah, now let's go all the way back to that story. When we showed up, Pablo was like, if you just want to meet me here, we'll park here. So we get there. And I get out, and he's wearing shorts and a T-shirt. Now, it's 95 degrees outside. It's both seasons, hot. And I was like, is that what you're hunting in? He's like, oh, no, I got my clothes in. I got my tub. So he opens the back door of the truck. He's pulling his stuff out. He said, oh, no.
Yeah.
I said, and that's his classic. And the thing is, it's going to be way worse than you expect. Like, when he says that, it's going to be bad. And I was like, what did you do? He said, I messed up again. I said, what did you got? He said, I've got 2 tubs. He said, one's for cold weather gear, one's for hot weather gear. He said, I've got my winter stuff. And
It's 90-something degrees.
It's burning hot. So he pulls out an insulated jacket and puts it on, and some bibs.
Yep.
And put them on.
Oh my
And
god!
I forgot my rangefinder too, man.
Yeah, he had no rangefinder. He was like, that was the first thing you said. You're
Yep.
like, dang, I forgot my rangefinder. I said, well, take mine. I said, because where I'm going, like, I kind of know the ranges in there. Just take mine. You can borrow it today. 5 minutes later, you're putting on insulation. Realize that. So we get out of the truck, walk about 10 feet, and you set off your alarm on your truck. And it's going, bam,
Man,
and I'm like,
the
they
thing
gonna
has
change spots, Cause
yeah, the thing has the panic alarm or something like that. I don't even know why they make that stuff like that. It makes no sense. If you're in panic, then you lock the doors. I guess. You know what I mean? But dude, we're walking and I don't know where it's like, bam, dude, I'm jumping. Like I don't know what's happening.
And the thing is, we're planning on hunting across the road. Like when we're hunting, we ain't going 100 yards, And I'm like, man, we might have changed spots. Well, we get. I'm like, well, it'd be all right, maybe. We get another 100 yards down through the woods.
Yeah, I'm soaked down in sweat. Like I'm burning up.
Your phone goes off, starts ringing.
Yeah, and my phone starts ringing.
You gonna answer that?
And I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
Yeah. I said, man, ever since we got out of the truck, it's been a disaster. You took about 2 steps and tripped and fell and dropped your bow. I said, now your bow ain't going to shoot straight.
Yeah,
and I'll be dang if you didn't go get that tree and drop it and you break your pull rope and then fell out of the tree.
Yeah.
I was like,
But I
this is the first time I ever went hunting with him. I was like, man, this is a bad idea.
Dude, I ended up seeing a doe that day. Remember? Yeah, I record her. She was right there. I first thought that it was a raccoon coming down the hill. And I said, oh, that's a raccoon.
Because they look so much alike.
Yeah, and I was like,
Coons and squirrels.
yeah, I was like, no, that's a deer, And no, she was just out there doing her thing. She never came close to it, just kind of like to give me a shot. But yeah, that was that was something else too. Golly, man. I mean, there's so many, especially with Daniel.
So one thing I wanted to bring back up is kind of like a callback to when you met Tony Myers.
Yes.
Talk to us about that first conversation when you went to this house the second time, a year later after pouring the concrete and sat down with him. What was he telling you? What did you learn? What got you excited after talking to him?
So I got with Mr. Tony and sat down and I said, I want to kill him like that. I want to kill one of those. And he laughed. He's like, you will, just be patient. And then I showed him the buck that I killed. He was super excited and all that stuff. He's like, okay, we gotta see where you at. Okay, do you know your feed trees? And I was like, what is that? So I didn't know what a red oak was or a white oak or a pinock oak or nothing. A water oak, like you name it, even bushes. So I ended up buying a book of trees from Alabama and native plants from Alabama so I could learn a little bit more. Mr. Tony was like, do you know how to read a topo map? And I was like, I do not. So at the time, when he was hunting, they didn't have none of that stuff. But he became a master, just like Mr. Jamie and Mr. Michael too. And he took me around the mountain and started showing me spots. Like these areas right here, these areas are good because they're offering food sources. They also offering escape routes. These are traveler corridors and things of that nature. Like something that I never ever thought about. The wind, your thermals. It was, my case, it was pretty much like having a 5-year-old as a grown man, and you're pretty much teaching him from zero. Like we're gonna start working on this, working on that, and then Danny will pick me along on the phase where I'm at, where I kind of like know what to look for, but the lack of experience and the lack of confidence play against me all the time, right? Usually I end up like second guessing myself to the point where I end up in places that I shouldn't been to begin with, but I should have been to the first spot. So Mr. Tony, he's been extremely kind to me, like more than what I deserve. And he's like, I gotta get you with some guys that they're gonna take you under their wings and they're gonna help you and they're gonna build you up the way that you have to, you know? Because I bet you he realized that I didn't want a free ride, man. I wanted to be able to have the woodsmanship and the skills that they do have. Which things like that, you know, takes years to learn. But at the time, once again, I didn't know better than that. So he started to introduce me with all these guys. And everybody, man, dude, the hunting community pretty much right here where we live, like it's solid. Like, and I'm the proof of that. You know, I'm the legit proof of Southern hospitality. The people just took me in, man, and they just wanted to help me out. And they just wanted to share things with me. And, I mean, calling just to check on things like that, you know, that really means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Donnie pretty much opened the road for me to start moving along and just kind of like be standing on where I'm at today. And I remember the episode that y'all did with him a while back. And he was telling me, like, yeah, they're good boys. They're good boys. And because, you know, I call Mr. Tony regularly. And he's always so nice, so kind. Pick up the phone, see where you at, what you doing. You finding anything? What about if you move on this side of the ridge? What about if you come on that area? What about if your approach changes completely and you leave that place alone for a little bit, you know? So that's what he did. He was pretty much like the mentor, if we can say it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved me with everybody else, and here we are. You know, I'm surrounded. Like, dude, sometimes I believe that I don't deserve it. Because God's been putting the right people in front of me, like, over and over, like, throwing them at me without me even being asking for it. You know what I mean? So it's a very nice thing, to be honest.
Yeah, Tony's a great guy, man. He's totally salt of the earth, just a great person. And also, but we get a lot of questions from people about how to find mentors and stuff. And I think you're the best example of that ever, where you went out and it takes a lot to go knock on a random guy's door and just be like,
actually pursued a mentor.
Yeah, pursue a mentor.
I need to learn this, so I'm going to find a teacher.
Yeah, I have to. Like, because I knew my limitations, man, and still I have a lot of limitations, dude. And I know, like, without these guys, you know, there goes the point where your ego has to just be like, you cannot have any ego. You have to be as humble as you can be. Just recognize, like, this is what I'm missing, this is what I'm lacking. And if I don't get mentors, if I don't get the right guys around me, I'm not gonna grow as a person. I'm not gonna grow as a hunter, and I'm just gonna keep getting frustrated, which I'm still do, you know. But I got people like Daniel and everybody else, Mr. Michael, Mr. Tony, Mr. Jamie. They always constantly calling. What have you been doing? You've been in this area. You've been checking on this. You've been checking on that. So it's not about, can you put me on a deer? You know what I'm saying? It's like, can you share a little bit of your overall knowledge so I can get to your level one day? You know, because, dude, I know this is what I was telling y'all. I'm on this phase where if I kill a good buck tomorrow, I'd be super happy. But if I pop a spike,
you'll be super happy.
Really happy too. Like Mr. Michael said, that I'm on spike management, you know? Because he might be right. I got a handful of those at home. But I'm on this phase that I just don't want to rush it, man. Like, there's no reason for me to try to rush this to get to a level where I'm not. And then what it's going to cause, I'm going to start getting frustrated. I'm going to start getting ill. I'm probably going to start giving this up. And I'm not going to enjoy the way that I am, like, enjoy now. Every day that I go out there, man, I learn something else. Rather being by bumping a big one, but messing up during a shot, but not having the right wind and getting blown and all that stuff. Everything is a learning experience. I remember the first times I was like, man, what is that thing? It's something like blowing on the woods. I just have no idea what it is. It was doze. I was getting busted all the time. And I was like, it's like a whistle. They were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. It's like, you know, and they were like, no idea. And then one day, one of them stood up in front of me, and she blew. I was about to die, because she's like, and I was like, that's what it was. That's what it was. So it was one of those aha moments.
Dude.
But yeah, man, it's when remember, and then I went to these older public place up here, and you have a trail, man, and it was a swampy, nasty looking like place, and I got knee high boots, and I said, screw it, let's see how deep it is. Within 2 steps, I'm already like knee deep. And I said, well, I mean, might as well, let's just go for it, like. And I kept on walking, and suddenly I just keep getting deeper, and I just get off on the ride and start following like what it seems to be a trail. And it's kind of solid.
In the water?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's kind of solid, and suddenly there's an opening, and I was like, man, let's see how deep this is. Dude, I'm like 6 feet on the ground. With my back, on the water, with my pack, with my bow, like I'm submerged underwater with one step. So I'm like, do I drop my bow or my pack? I'm fixing to drown, And I'm like tippy-toeing on the bottom, and I was able to grab a root and pull myself up, and I was like, not this way, My phone at the time, I have an old phone. It was messed up, man. I'm soaking wet, and I said, screw it, let's just sit for the evening. And I just walked a little bit more.
Let's hunt anyway.
Yeah. And came across a beaver dam and some stuff and sat on the ground. Well, I be dope. By 4:30, a spy comes along, man, and I whack him. When I said I whack him, like the thing didn't even go 20. Pile up there, super excited. Well, my headlamp is messed up, because I got soaking wet. Now I got to go back again. So I'm trying to find my way through it. Couldn't find the beaver dam, but there's a log right across that area on that creek, and it was pretty deep creek, man. And I'm like I got my bug, and a rope, and I'm just kind of like floating the buck, and just kind of like tippy-toeing that log in the middle, and suddenly like a stick of dynamite went off, poof, and I'm in the water. A beaver, dude. Beaver slapped their tails. Never heard that before, and it scared me so much. I end up falling on the water once again, all the way down, and I'm using the bug because I didn't have a knife, so I haven't got it. I'm using him as a floater. Yeah, seriously. And I'm hanging in there. Eventually, made it back out and all the way out, and I killed several deer out of that place. Kept coming back, and I just keep going past it because I don't learn my ways, dude. It was one way in and one way out, and you will stay within this much water. It was crazy. Well, I remember this morning, everything was so crystal. It was like a thin layer of ice on the water, and I'm just being super careful. And I stopped in the middle where I usually cross by, and dude, there was tracks, tons of tracks right there. And I was like, man, I've been passing the sign just to go to another place where they're not even there, So there was a sweet gum, one tree that you could climb. It was about this big. And everything else was dead, nothing but cattails and bushes and just nasty, swampy looking like. So I climb up, dude, and that thing was, I'm like, oh, I was like, that about 6 inches of water, 20 feet high. I said, yeah, I make it if I fall down, And I was contemplating the angles. I was like, I'll go right here. It's going to be
If the tree falls,
yeah, because, dude, seriously, he was about this big, and that wasn't. And then I start killing deer, dude. Next thing you know, that's where they're crossing from a big, solid wood block into the swamp, into the next one. That was their funnel. December the 22nd, I want to say it was 4 years ago, 5 years, probably about 5. It was December the 22nd. I seen 2 of those coming my way into the cattails, and I was like, sweet. I'm fixing to kill one of them. And out of nowhere, a really nice 8-pointer comes right behind them. And I was like, even better, and and they're getting closer to me, and suddenly, like a train wreck on the swamp, a giant comes out of the cattails, pushing that 8-pointer. He wasn't no small 8-pointer. He was a good buck. But this other dude was a big one. Chasing him out, man, like I never seen that in my life before. So I didn't even know how to process that information. I'm just there like, And the does take off running that way, and the 2 bucks run that way, man. He was running, doing all that stuff, and then he stops and he starts chasing the does. And I was like, man, dude, as loud as I could. He was on the go. I released when I was back here, hit him back. I called Mr. Michael because I thought that I first called Mr. Tony because when I shot the deer, he stopped and turned around the way that he came and just hunched over. And he was flickering that tail. And I was like, that dude's hurt. Like I hit him like he's hurt. Might have been a liver hit. And he eased his way out into it, into the swamp. Got Mr. Tony. He was like, that's a dead deer. Called Mr. Michael. He was like, get out. We're going to put a dog on it. Right? That was about 9:30 in the morning, 10 o'clock. So we put a dog about 10 o'clock at night. Dude, there was blood all over the swamp on the cattails and all that. But it just got dry. And we searching. That's the one that just got away, right? But that was the first time that I was like, yes. Like, finally, the light bulb came on. And I was like, I had a shot. Like, I had a chance to.
And you figured that spot out.
Yes. I had an opportunity. And dude, believe it or not, this is going to sound crazy, but I feel that was the best thing that could have happened to me was not recovering that deer. The reason for that is because I feel that it could have steered me in the wrong direction. I could have just kind of like let my ego go up and let it get up to my head like, oh, I don't figure it out. Like, now I know, I don't need nobody else. Like, I'm just going to do my thing. And I feel that could have been a critical mistake of my career, if we can say it like that. I feel that was the greatest humbling opportunity that I had because the presence of them guys is magnificent, having one of those that big right there, especially with a bow. Being able to shot him, didn't recover him. And I was like, yes, I put a foot, like I was able to put a foot inside of the big leagues. This is what they do. This is what they feel. Things like that will happen. You're going to miss. You're going to recover. You're not going to recover. So it was a great experience. To me, it's one of the greatest when it comes to learning-wise.
Yeah, the ones you don't kill can, to me, teach you more than some of the ones that you do kill. The ones that get away. And I'm going to ask, so where are you going to be sitting on December 22nd of this year?
Not in that place.
Oh.
Yeah, hold on. Remember?
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Daniel, what are you doing? You're not teaching them.
No, that the place got destroyed. Unfortunately, the place.
I forgot you told me about this.
Yeah, the place got destroyed, and the deer population just got demolished. I don't know if they just went into private or something like that. And trust me, I kept on checking, and every time it was less and less and less. And now, like the swamp and all that stuff, all that is gone. Like they destroy the area. So it's just what the state does, and time to move along somewhere. Just a really good memory. I used to call that place Bikini Bottom. Yeah, like SpongeBob. Yeah, because I remember when I first started hunting right there, my little brother, he was watching the SpongeBob, and they were like, "Oh, let's go to Bikini Bottom and whatever." And the squirrel that she submerged on the water, and that day I was completely submerged on the water. Yeah, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna call this place Bikini Bottom. And Bikini Bottom got destroyed, and it was, man, I enjoyed it. I was the only one in that area for years because nobody knew. Dude, seriously, it looked like a castle. Just everything was like that. You could see like a couple inches here and there. But it was an area that you make a right, and it will open about this much. Now, early season, you got cottonmouths and copperheads everywhere. I used to just kick them out, man.
Yeah,
Just
I'm going to
going
tell
in
you
and out.
something. If you ever, like, for somebody that has not been doing it that long, like, go scouting with somebody that will scout an area. Like, I've been to places with him that terrify me. I mean, places that we pull up, and it's like, we're going in here. And I'm like, well, you sure you don't want to go, like, here and go around? It's like, no, like, we need to go that way. And I'm like, there's not any, you can't go that way.
Yeah.
Like, you can. I've done it before. And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
That's how I scout, too.
And it is, I'm talking about a disaster. Now, a lot of times we'll end up on the
Most
other
of my
side
scouting
of it.
trips are.
And it's like, well, we could have come in from the other side and not had to deal with that. He's like, yeah, but, like, this is the way I like to come. You need to tell them we need to talk about the kayak and the big buck that flipped you.
Oh man, yeah. That day I was out there on this area with a kayak, and I get on. It's kind of like a feeder creek, if we can say it like that. The water's super shallow, but it had a little bit of current, so I'm just sitting on it, just drifting, and suddenly, dude, there was an explosion of on the water. There was a giant bug bedded maybe from here to that table right there. We're talking about 15 yards. Dude, he was bedded on the water, like on the lily pads. It was in summer. So I bet you he was just chilling there. I thought that it was a gator. So I say, golly. And then when I try to pull my phone, well, next thing you know, I'm in the water again, you know. I rolled the kayak and I had an inflatable vest. So the thing blows up and I'm just fumbling in there. Roll the kayak and jump on and try to get on the bug. And I pull my phone and he's standing on the wood line, dude, and he's a big one. And my phone, because it's wet, you know, they do all these crazy things, so I'm not able to pull up the camera. And that bug was looking at me like, yeah, I don't have to worry about him, you know. You know what I mean? And dude, that was a really big deer.
It scared you so bad you flipped.
Yes, absolutely. And then I come back with Daniel into it, and I got sidetracked into a gator slide. I was like, Daniel.
Yeah. I think that's a deer trail. I was like, it's a weird place for a deer trail.
Just going right
So
off
he
into some
jumps
deep
off.
water.
So he jumps off chest deep water.
No.
Dude, and
Oh,
the
yeah,
grass, the grass is this tall, like,
Oh, I mean, it's if there's an alligator somewhere that's going to kill you, it's right there.
and I was
You know what I mean?
like,
Like if
Daniel.
It's like, that's a good place to go
he's
swimming.
like, I'm going to go check it. I said, I don't know that I'd get out right here. Next thing, whoosh. And I said, man, what if you need to? What if there is an alligator over?
Hey.
So he reaches over and gets his paddle out of his kayak. He's like, I'll take my paddle. Okay.
Crocodile
I'm
Dundee
going
right
to get
here.
my phone rolling. I'm going to video.
And I'm there, man, and I'm like, Daniel, yeah, this is the track. So like, he's here, you know. And
Yeah,
he's like,
he gets up in there. I mean, he's in there in grass over his head. He's like, hey, yeah, he's here. And I was like, a buck? No, alligator. I was like, can you see it?
Let's
he said,
get out.
No, big tracks, big tail slide. I was like, time to go.
dude, seriously, that slide was this wide. I'm
Yeah,
not kidding,
it was
dude.
big.
It's the biggest one that I ever seen, you know. And
Which, I mean, that was funny, but on the way
Yeah.
there, when your trolling motor come out of your hand.
oh yeah, well, I got a kayak, right, and I put a trolling motor with one of those tiller handles. So I feel like I'm pimping in that thing, you know. I'm just like,
we just went over there to try out the trolling motor. We want to see how it works. We
It's
went
the
over
first day, man, and I don't know. I
And I
said,
tell him, I said, I get out and put on my life jacket, my kayak. And I said, you not go wear a life jacket? And he's like, well, I mean, we can swim to the bank. You know, it's not that deep, whatever. I said, yeah, but I mean, get knocked out or something stupid happens. I mean, I just no reason why not to. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. You hear too many horror stories. He's like, yeah, you're probably right. So he puts the life jacket on. 5 minutes later. Go ahead.
well, 5 minutes later, the next thing I know, I'm spinning out of control, full throttle, like in circles like that, and I'm grabbing, holding on for dear life, and then I can see,
We're racing.
Yeah.
We're racing. I'm pedaling as fast as I can. We're seeing if this trolling motor can keep up with me pedaling in my other one. The next thing I know, he's like disappeared. He's like, Daniel,
you know, and dude, I'm just holding, and dude, that thing's
he's
spinning.
sideways. Yeah, he's sideways
Like
in
spinning,
a dead
dude.
spin. Yeah, he's like Top Gun, like Goose and Maverick, screaming at the top of his lungs. And the handle has come out of his hand and is in the water behind him. And the trolling motor's kicked sideways on high gear. And that kayak is going so fast in a
Dude.
circle. And it's all he can do. The kayak's sideways. And he's going around in circles screaming, hanging on. I mean, any second it's about to turn over. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Then he's like, okay,
I said,
hold on.
chill out. And
Calm
he was like,
down.
he's like, we're going to crash. I'm going to turn over. I said, just chill out. I said, unplug the trolling motor.
He's like, calm down, calm down, unplug the motor. And I'm pulling. I was like, that worked. Yeah. It's like, that's what I told you to put the life jacket on. And I was like, oh, right. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nest wasp.
There's
And
a wasp nest.
Yeah, wasp nest. Pretty good one, dude.
Yeah, big.
And I could tell that Daniel was about to pull a porcupine me, you know, because he was like, right here, just go right here, you know. And I was like, what do you mean go right here? Yeah,
He's filming.
I was like, no. Yeah, this way.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was. That day we had a lot of fun.
They seen a bunch of snakes that day too.
Yeah,
I kept telling them to get close. I said, get over beside him so we can see how big that snake is. You're like, I don't know if I want to get any closer.
I was like, no, I know that any moment, eventually they're gonna end up. I have got issues with rattlers too, man. For some reason,
Seen a bunch of rattlesnakes.
one of these days, I was actually coming out of the forest, and I was like, dude, I'm due for an encounter. Like, it's been a while, which I mean last year. I said it's been a couple months of the season, and for some reason, I haven't. Next thing I know, boom, a 5-footer, right there, full blown.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, buddy.
I think Daniel, were you telling me that he caught one? That Pablo caught one or something like that? Did you grab one?
Yeah, man. Here's the thing.
It was a rattlesnake, wasn't it?
Yeah, but in that place right there, you can kill them. It's good. And here's the thing, man. Like, I seen him, and he was a big one, dude. And I was like, I gotta take it home. Like,
You're thinking about make some new boots.
no, I just
leather
like
belt,
his kid,
yeah.
right? So I'm there, like, okay, let's roll the dice. I said, screw it, let's roll the dice.
Dice in the
Yeah.
front.
Oh,
Timber
his,
rattlesnake.
even his
Yeah.
verse says that with anything, you don't go
That's
with
his go-to. Is let's
Yeah.
roll the dice.
I said, let's roll the
dice.
dice. I'm about a mile away from the truck. I said, let's roll the dice. But I have a machete and a walking stick, which is like the half side, like it's pretty much like the bottom side of a surfing rod. That's my walking stick. So I had that machete right there, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And dude, when she saw me, she immediately called up and started rattling because she was like, this is a hybrid, this, 50% Hispanic, 50% redneck. Just don't see it. They're like, you don't see them all the time. Just don't really know what they're capable of. Right? So I was like, let's go. Bah!
Thoughts
And-
of a snake.
dude, and whack it. And she gets like stung right there. So I used the stick and pin it down, and stretch it out, step on it. When I pull my machete to cut the head, she comes loose.
No.
And it strikes between my legs, do full force, and she's a full grown. So I jump back and I said, all right, let's regroup. Yeah. Dude. Let's regroup. She tries to take off. Like, she realized like that, I'm in trouble, and she tries to take off. And when she does, I reach down and grab at the rattles and pull back on
Oh
it.
my gosh,
And
dude.
dude, when
Where
I
you
did
going?
this, she strike again on her way back. And I swear to God, her head went right here, like full open. Came back, pin it back again, dude. And I pin it again. And I was like, if I don't make it happen right now, like,
She might win.
she's gonna tag me, and then I'm gonna be screwed up. So again, pin it back down, reach down, stretch it, pull on it, grab the machete, boom, let it rip. I said, gotcha. Grab it, put it on my pack, and I just kept on my day. Made it to the house, and my wife is like, so how'd it go? You catch any deer? Because she says that, I don't give up. I don't give up. It's like, it's not catching. It's killing, And I just gave up, and I'm like, no, I did not catch any deer. I was just scouting today. She was like, okay, how'd it go? You ready for lunch? And I said, I got something boogering me on my back. I don't know, something went in here. And she was like, what are you talking about doing? I just grabbed my pack, and I just opened it in the living room. That thing just falls down.
Oh no.
Was it still moving?
Nah, well, yeah, she was moving, but she wasn't rattling no more. But the snake is moving, And dude, my wife is jumping this high on the kitchen counters, and I'm there having fun. Even my dogs, they're like, "Whoa!" Like, "Whoa!" And she's like, "Get that thing." She was really upset for several days, dude.
You seen a rattlesnake over there on public whenever that day I was coming out when you started screaming for me. Remember that story?
Man,
We're over
dude,
there. He thinks I'm dead. And
here's the thing: it's 7:00. I'm on Daniel's, waiting on Daniel's
it
truck.
wasn't that late.
Yeah, it was about 6:37, somewhere in there. And I said, dude, something happened to Daniel. I'm really start getting nervous. I'm fixing to call the rescue squad.
Like, we're parked right down the road from each other. He comes up to my truck and is waiting on me. But I mean, we're hunting that evening, and I was a mile and a half, probably a mile and a half from the truck.
But I was, you know what I mean?
It gets
Like,
dark it was before the time changed. It
Yeah.
didn't get dark until 6:15, 6:30.
Yeah.
So
And I climbed down, had to gather my stuff. I checked my camera card and come out. Well, I get back. I'm on the last creek. I'm following a creek, and it forks a few times. I'm on the last fork. I'm probably 200 more yards from the truck. And all of a sudden, man, like this blood curdling scream. And I haven't heard, Daniel, I hadn't heard nothing. I hear, Daniel. I'm talking about as loud. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, yeah. That's all I said. Yeah. And he goes, okay.
Oh, right there. Because I called Chase Parker. I said, dude, get ready.
Yeah, I mean, he's done called my buddy Jeremy. Like,
Yeah,
he's done
I was
freaked out. Like,
all right,
we got to
everybody
get people.
get ready.
Like,
we
Daniel's
might have
gone.
to go get Daniel out. Like,
You would not like hunting with me.
Well,
That'll take forever to get
listen.
out.
Well, I mean,
Really?
and I don't climb down until it's dark, you
Yeah.
know, and then I gather my stuff up, put it back in my pack where it goes, and like I said, I pulled my card.
So you're calling everybody.
no, because I'm nervous at
Yeah.
the time.
I mean, I
got-
get back up there like he's panicking. I'm like, what,
Yeah,
what's
because I'm
wrong?
like, you think about then. God Almighty, man, he got a medical condition. What if something happened? Like this has to be treated like seriously, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, get ready, get a bunch of people on the standby because we're fixing to get him. He's coming out home tonight. And I said, I'm fixing.
and I'm just walking to the truck.
Yeah,
man.
I'm fixing to give him 20 more minutes, and everybody's like, he's probably coming back out. And I was like, no, he's not. Like, I made it out, And dude, I just went out there and I screamed out of the top of my lungs, and then Liz like, right there.
Yeah, I'm coming.
He's like, hey, and I was like, oh, you're here, So, but yeah, a lot of times I use the one stick. That's what I use. So you rappel yourself, pull it up, wrap it up, and gun. Like that's
Well,
it.
but I mean, it doesn't. The thing is, though, is you was back at my truck. You had to have climbed down before it got dark.
Remember that day I climbed down before it got dark because I didn't have a flashlight. A headlamp, and my phone was about to run out of battery, and I was way down there. So I said, I got to get a little bit closer where I can just sit on the ground again and make my way out with the moon. 200-300 yards, which no biggie, versus a mile. So I did, and then I was out about 6.
Well, you were out a lot earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, you're waiting on me a long time, but I mean,
And I seen some guys coming back out on the truck. They're like, man, everything on. And I said, I don't know, dude. I
might
started
be
getting
bad.
nervous. Yeah, might as well get in contact right here with everybody, And no, thanks to the guy, did made it out. But yeah, there's been several times where I end up way down, man, doing places that
well, you never have a flashlight, and your phone is always
or a
dead.
knife.
Yeah, or a knife.
For some reason, dude. Yeah, for some reason. Like, I end up buying these cheap knives and something happens to them. And next thing you know, I'm like, dang it. You got to use the broadheads to cut them out. And yeah.
Get him out with a broadhead.
Yeah, I
dang
don't
it.
use broadheads to gut them out so many times, dude. Like, so many times. And now it's just like familiars. Get an arrow, And, yeah. It's just one of those things,
That's
Hot tip. Listen, you have a knife that always lives in your backpack, and it never comes out until you actually need it. Just get one, stick it down in a pocket, zip it up. It's always there.
Yeah.
It's Pablo. You're talking about Pablo Esquivel. Pablo would say, I know where a knife is. It's the one in my backpack I never get out. I'll go get that one. We can use it. And it'd be like, oh no.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
It'd be dang it.
You got to tell. Listen, you got to tell the story of. I don't remember all the details, but the buck you thought was a donkey.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
This
I
is one of
forgot.
my favorite ones.
So yeah, no, that's for real. And remember we talk about this place being at one of those overlooked spots.
Oh, yeah.
The place where I killed that buck in Tennessee, I swear to God, it was the replica of that area. And I stopped to take a whiz out there, making a parenthesis. I stopped to take a whiz, and I look up, and it was a rope. I said, "Oh, nice rope." Kind of like keep looking. Another one, and the place is tore up, dude. Like, and he's right there, like in a corner of the road where cars will go either way, And I walk a little bit more, maybe about 100 yards. And next thing you know, I mean, that's where it was, one of those overlooked spots, and there's a mature buck bedded down with a doe. Anyways, that day I was with Ben Price. He was in one of the listener success stories too, with my buddy Ben. But this place up here, man, we're supposed to have a storm, a really heavy storm, like heavy thunderstorms and all that stuff. So the wind is blowing so hard already, and I just don't want to get stuck and get caught up in a thunderstorm while up in a tree. So I climb down, and I'm walking back out. Dude, I'm on the gravel road, within 200 yards of where pretty much the parking spot, and suddenly I see this giant animal walking towards me. There's some, farms around. They have livestock and things like that. So I said, well, dang it. Somebody's donkey got out, and now this rascal is fixing to chase me, and I don't want to run. Now, you know what I mean? Have you ever been chased by a donkey?
Is that a Costa Rica thing? Did you have
that's
a
what I was
donkey
just
down
about to say. Is that happening in Costa Rica? Like
Yeah.
donkeys chase people?
I have got the worst luck of the world, man, when it comes to like weird things. And I tell you what, man, a donkey bite, dude, that ain't no joke. That ain't no joke. And the first thing that comes to my mind, I said, this rascal is fixing to chase me. I'm going to have to drop all my gear because they're fast. You got to run like in circles. I've been run over by bulls, you name it, dude. Seriously, dude. Kicked by horse as well. Yeah, and I was like,
I bet it's your fault every time. Too.
a lot of times.
Pablo's like, I'm going to ride this horse.
A lot of times. Yeah, it's like, I'm about to ride it. But, dude, I'm there, and I said, well, dang it, just go. So I just kind of like jump on the grass, and I'm just hunching over, and I pick my head up. The next thing I know, there's a giant buck, and he's walking on the gravel road, 200 yards away from the parking area, like just walking towards me. All right, then I'm in panic mode once again. I'm just like, can't even find my release, don't know what my stuff up, trying to knock an arrow. When I look at him, dude, he's right there, like looking at me. I drew back and I was like, that's a 30-yard shot. Dude, he was like 17 or something like that, because that arrow went like this high up his back. Just went that way. And he jumped and took off and run in this area. And I was like, dude, you have to be kidding me. Like, seriously, this dude here's probably watching everybody going in and out. And he knows exactly when to move and how to use this when the hunters are back there, or whenever they're coming in. He just right here, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that day I thought that he was a big donkey, and he was not. He was a swamp donkey. That's what he was,
Well, what about the bird you thought was a cougar?
Oh, what?
Oh,
Black
yeah.
Panther, the Black Panther bird.
So I spoke with Mr. Tony, gives me some directions on the forest, right? Once again, I'm learning the place. Man, you just don't know about that mountain. Everybody talks all kind of craps about that place, that mountain, and I go way down in this holler, man. I actually took Daniel to that place because I was like, Daniel, I think this is the place where I'm gonna kill a state record. Daniel goes back in and he's like, I will never come back to this place ever again.
There's less sign in there than anybody I've ever been in my whole life.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think deer live here.
I was like, I don't know why. He's so elusive that I just cannot find him. He's like, because he doesn't live here. And I was like, man, he broke my heart.
The only place I've ever seen somebody put a camera up and not get a picture of a single deer in a year.
Yeah, dude, it broke,
Oh my gosh.
It broke
I was like,
my
how many
heart.
pictures do you got? I've never got a picture of one
I
in
was
here.
like,
I think I'm
none.
missing something. I'm like, yeah, you're in the wrong place.
Dude, it was a pine thicket head high. Pine's about this big. And I'm way down there in the hollow. Well, I'm making my way back out, right? So as I'm walking out, man, I'm just there trucking along, whatever. And suddenly I heard a noise right here on my right side, man, on a pine. And next thing you know, there's something hitting me on my neck like that. Panic mode, dude. My flashlight falls off. The rifle falls off. And I'm rolling over, fighting for my life on briars, screaming, dude, screaming. Like, I'm wrestling, grass wrestling, dude.
In the middle of the woods.
Yes, pitch black. I'm like,
Someone's on your back.
Yes, I said, I got a mountain lion. He's fixing to snap my back. He's fixing to break my neck. He's going for the jugular right now. Right? So, dude, I'm going at him, throwing punches and rolling. And and suddenly stops, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm covered up in blood. Well, yeah, because I was rolling on briars. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm hurt, man. I'm hurt. Like, and I start taking my stuff off. And there's a dove, man. She was roosting in one of them pines. And when I came back out, I spooked her. So she flew between my head inside of my hoodie and got trapped back here. And she was flapping. And she just all mashed up here in my hoodie. And I was covered up with feathers. And I was just looking on like, I said, dude, you got to be kidding me, you know? I said, I ain't going to tell this to nobody. You know, that's what I thought. And I just came back out. My wife was like, what happened? Dude, seriously, it looked like I just got in a fight with a wildcat, you know? And I was like, I just tape over into some briars, you know? It's just like, man, but that much. And I said, it was crazy, you know? Dude, I could have feathers and all that all over me. That was like, it's all fun and games, dude. You got to wrestle a pigeon in the dark. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta wrestle a pigeon in the dark.
It was kind of money, dude.
We should make that a T-shirt. It's all fun and games till you wrestle a pigeon in the dark.
I want to say that was my second or third time by myself out there.
Oh, that would happen on like your second trip or something.
Yeah, because you thought there were mountain lions there. Then.
I thought that it was all kind of creatures, like everything, you know, bears, mountain lions, everything. You know, I was like, and then on my way out, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this place. And it's a good, quarter of a mile of a trail about this big.
Through the thick stuff.
Through the really thick stuff.
Which is where you should have been hunting.
Yeah, but I was on the other side.
Yeah.
You know? As usual.
That's the only place I ever been. We walked a mile and a half, close to 2 miles, and then waded a creek waist deep to get to the other side of the creek to get a camera that was 200 yards from the next road up the side of the hill. We got there, and I kept the whole time we walked, I kept looking at my map. I was like, I'm pretty sure we're getting closer to that road. And then we got over halfway there, and I was like, now I know we're closer to the road. Then we had to wade the creek, and I was like, now I'm mad. Yeah. I was like, we got to the creek. I was like, where's your camera? He was like, right over there on the other side of the creek. I was like, why?
Dude, because at the time I didn't have awnings. There was many times that I was like, okay, I'm going straight south and I'm coming straight out north.
And that's what's impressive is the fact that you didn't have awnings, but y'all really didn't know what you're doing and you were by yourself.
Yeah.
And going in these places that I would be scared to go with awnings. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like you're in places that are like, I mean,
Nasty.
it's rough, nasty, and then
Like serious terrain.
wading creeks, and doing stuff that most people won't even be willing to do if they knew there was a buck there. Like he has no idea there's anything there, and he's out there wading creeks and stuff. Like,
dude, and I'm just crossing the truck, and I was like, okay, I got to come back out now. And he's like, oh, man, which way did I come in? And then I start backtracking, and everything is totally different. I'm on the wrong side of the ridge, crossing the wrong side of the creek. Next thing you know, I end up several times back on the road, just looking right and left, like, where am I? You know, where's my truck? And some dude pulled him up, and they were like, hey, buddy. And I was like, have you seen a so-and-so truck? He was like, God almighty. What? I said, I don't know where's my truck. What's the name of the road? Dude, that's like 10 miles that way, you know? I'm like, oh, he's jump in. I'll take your ride, you know? And then, dude, I went scouting with the dealer. The dealer. So we go scouting. He's like, okay, we're gonna park right here with your truck, and then we're gonna drive all the way back there, and then we're gonna park my truck. No, yes, we're parking your truck right here, and then we're gonna go all the way back down, and we get out of my truck, and we go circle around, then we come back on your truck, come back to my truck, and we split again. And I say, right on. We do that. We park my truck and put my keys on Michael's car and all that stuff. We go down in that holler. About 4 hours later, we come back up to my truck. And I said, sweet, that's my truck. And I said, crap. You know, and Michael Michael just looked at me like, what? And I said, Michael, my keys are in your truck. He was going to kill me, dude. He was like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
Jacob did that exact same thing to our buddy Greg Mayhair a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Really?
We were hunting, and I was filming him. We were going to hike, scout / hunt our way through a big piece of public. So I parked my truck on one end. We took his truck around and, you know, got out, got everything situated. We're going to hike to my truck. So we do that. We hunt all day, get back in there, and we get to my truck, and we get 10 yards from my truck, and I'm like, I look over at Greg and I'm like, oh no. And he's like, what? And he's like, I'm like, I don't have my keys.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean you don't have your keys? I'm like, I remember putting them in my other pair of shoes that are in your truck.
Oh,
Yeah, it was 4.5 miles that we had walked through some pretty nasty stuff. And he looks over at me and I'm like, pull up on X. I'm like, well, I think we can walk the actual road all the way back around the paved road. It's going to be a long ways, but it'd be faster than walking through all that
Easy
stuff.
walking.
Yeah. And we also had our Patreon Hunters Hangout meeting that night. So we hopped on as we were walking for
down the highway.
almost an hour, just like on the actual call itself. The cars would fly by us. And people we had our lights and everything, but we stashed all of our gear and bows and stuff in the woods next to my truck. So we were just walking, in camo, and people were driving by. And they'd come up with the headlights and they swerve at the last minute because they didn't see us. And I'm like, man, this camo is really working, but it's also kind of sketchy. So they started to have to turn the light on every time a car was coming by. But yeah, I did that this year. That was terrible.
That is awful.
Greg was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, man. I totally forgot. I didn't think anything about it.
First thing in your mind is what you just walked through and having to do it again. It's like,
That's what me
no.
and him were talking about. I'm like, we're not going back that way. Like we'll take this route back and just walk the paved road.
Yeah, we did that. We walked the asphalt, and then we did it again. And Michael was like, "I'm gonna keep him." That's fine with me. That's totally fine with me. It's like we ain't doing that again. So.
Pablo, one thing that's fun about talking to you is you're still you're in the fun mode. Like you have so much fun and you're so excited about it. And you were talking about not wanting to get ahead of yourself when it comes to trying to chase big bucks or whatever. And I mean, that's super common. I mean, I think Jake and I do that too. Like you just get so hung up on a big buck that it kind of takes the fun out of it. And Daniel, I'm kind of curious, being someone who's always hunted and now you're kind of mentoring him. I mean, what's that dynamic like?
Dude,
it's just pure fun, all the time.
It's so freaking awesome because when I was a kid, that's what got me into hunting was the fun. I loved to hunt. I loved to scout. I loved to laugh and walk, sit around and tell stories like this. That was what I loved. And I got in that mode of just pressuring myself, trying to, every year I wanted to kill a good one. You know what I mean? If it wasn't 3 or whatever, I just wanted to kill at least one good buck. And you kind of get in that mode and you start just getting discouraged when nothing's happening. And it kind of got a little complacent. You know what I mean? I was hunting private property in the same place every year. And I just wasn't, it kind of got boring almost to me. And then I meet this guy. And it was the first few times we went over there, man, we ended up doing more laughing and cutting up than we did scouting.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this right here is fun, even if we don't kill anything. This is just cool. But to see through the deer season, to see his excitement, he'd see a deer and he'd call me and tell me about it. It'd be a doe. And he'd be freaking out. You know what I mean? I'm like, heck yeah, man. And it would get me excited, but it's probably helped me the last 2 years kill as many deer as I have because it's gotten me relaxed and I'm able to go and hunt as long as I need to and days without seeing anything because I'm chilled out. It's like, I get to tell Pablo I went hunting today. You know what I mean? It's like you don't care if you see anything. It's like I'm going deer hunting tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's what we do now. We deer hunt. We're not going trophy hunt. We're just going deer hunting.
If it comes out good, and if it doesn't, good.
That's it.
Man.
And you almost hope something stupid happens because we tell each other about it. It's like you're never going to believe what happened to me today.
and it's funny, dude, because I get Daniel's perspective, right? Knowledge, experience, everything, just hundreds of years ahead of me, right? He grew up on that and all that. And he's patient enough to deal with me, just kind of trying to guide me through, even through the headaches that I give him, which is every other day, especially during hunting season.
Well, but I mean, with my sense of humor, I hate to say it, but there's nothing funnier to me than watching somebody screw something up.
Yeah,
and it's not it's I don't want to make fun of you about it, but it's fun making fun of you too.
Yeah.
You to your face.
Because it's the only way that I'm gonna learn. Yeah,
and the way that you take that is hilarious to me too. So it's really fun just bouncing off each other just to see what happens, and eventually one of us just shoots a buck.
Yeah,
to
me, it's more important being able to screw it up and learning from that, and that's what Daniel does. Even knowing that he's fixing to mess up. He's about to mess up, but the only way that he's gonna learn is the hard way. You gotta let him do it, and I do it. And I'm like, Daniel. He's like, yeah. What do you think that you should have done? And I'm like, this and that.
Yeah, this
so
last
why
year-
you didn't do it?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. This last year, I've kind of learned to tell him ahead of time. I'm like, okay, well, this is what I told you to do, and this is what you said you're going to do, and this is what's going to happen. And when it does, I want you to call me. It's like, listen, we're just going to walk this out. Like, I don't want it to be a "I told you so" thing.
Yeah.
I just want you to understand what's about to happen and why, so that you can learn when it happens. Because
Yeah.
he doesn't believe you. He's like, oh no, like this is what I'm going to do.
Oh, dude, that's Jacob to a T.
And it's almost like not stubbornness. It's just like he's just got this super intense drive to do it himself based on what he thinks he knows.
That is Jacob. 100%.
And it could be some random thought, and it's just like I think I'm going to do this. It's like, why? I don't know. That just seems today.
My
that's
gut
what
is telling me.
My
yeah.
gut, my
Oh,
gut.
yeah.
It's like, well, like I'm not going back. I'm going by a bunch of like information. Like, what is your gut? But it really does. Like that fun to me over the last couple of years, man, has relaxed me so much hunting that I've been more often. I've been more consistent sitting all day, like daylight to dark and stuff. But I'm enjoying it again. Like really, it just kind of started me over. It's like I just kind of went back, and now that I'm kind of showing him some stuff, it like reminds me what it felt like to not know and to learn for the first time. And it's fun watching him learn for the first time everything. And it makes it fun when he's successful or when he sees anything, or even when I'm successful, he gets so fired up.
Yeah, man, because it's part of it, Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things, dude. Like, I don't care if somebody else hits a 160. Like here, this man 2 120s and a 140. Look at here.
Look at that deer.
Look at that thing, right? I haven't killed anything. Killed a couple of those. But I'm super happy with that. And I'm really pumped for Daniel because he's been putting a lot of work too. I'm witness of that. So when somebody else has killed something, I'm like, sweet, dude, sweet. They're running. Eventually, sooner or later, I will get a chance. On this WMA that I've been hunting in that place for 7 years. And I have not been able to kill a buck yet. I have got encounters with monsters. And I have seen the small ones that I have not been able to shoot. But it's been 7 years, and I have not been able to kill a buck. And now I told Daniel, I will kill a buck on this place, even if it's the last thing that I do, but I just cannot give up. I don't know if it's just being stupid or if I like the torture of going through it and not seeing a thing and just keep grinding. But dude, one day I will kill a buck on this WMA because I will do it regardless. I'm not talking about a 161 where you never know, right? A 120. I'd be tickled to death if I can kill a 120 or 100-inch deer, as long as it's legal out of that place. Because he's going to be like, yes, another success. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
You're going to have to go back to where you've seen them before.
Yeah.
That's going to be the hard part for you.
that's the hard part. I'm like,
He's like, well, I saw a buck over there and I couldn't kill him, so I got to go over here.
yeah, I said, Daniel. Dude. So right here, but I've been seeing sign of this place for like 3 years. He's always tore up and destroyed. Let's go check him out. He walks in there. He's like, "Whoa, my God, buck beds, and all that. You gotta see it right here." And I'm like, "Okay, have you been in there?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And I did not, dude, a whole year. And now I think whatever it was in there don't move up or somebody don't kill it. I don't know. But I had a camera. Put a camera just to see what it was. Well, I had every single pig that it was on the WMA just going by it every day. Every single one of them. November the 23rd of 2023, actually last year, I got one dude walking straight to the camera. And then no pictures after that. I mean, no pictures before that. Only after that, and that's because the camera was laying flat on the ground. So I bet you, even though there is a WMA, which to me is a shame, if you want to check the pictures or whatever, just do it, but just don't delete him. You know what I mean? He went out there, he grabbed the camera, pulled the SD card, so whatever it was in there, and deleted it, and cut the strap and put the camera flat on the ground. What's the point of doing that, man? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. It's not the end of the world for me, but it's like...
Well, the bad thing is, it's public land and people do what they
Yeah.
want. And they'll tell you, well, it's public, you shouldn't have left it out there. But at the same time, that was a scouting trip that we took based on information you found the year before. You was all excited about the spot.
Yeah.
So we put a camera in there. We're both excited trying to figure out what we can do for you.
Yeah.
And you get out there, somebody's done cut your strap with your camera. You know, it's like, man.
So I was like, I said, that's a shame, dude. Like, I'm going to say it right here. Well, I don't have, I was looking just to see if I have my stuff right there, but no. I had on a small pack that I carry with me all the time. It's still in the car. I got a piece of paper. Every time I'm walking in front of somebody else's camera, it's a poem that I came up with, and I swear to my mama, I came up with this. It says, "Roses are red, violets are blue. That big buck you have on camera, I'm hunting him too." and I pulled that piece of paper. When I walk in front of a camera, I'm just like, hold on. And walk off. Yeah. And I think it's great because, dude, I came out with it. That's a good t-shirt too, you know?
Right.
Roses are red, violets are blue. The big buck you have on camera, I'm hunting him too. You know? So
That is fantastic.
I don't mess with nobody's stuff, man. Not a lot of people do. I would say like 9 out of 10 straight up guys, but you always got that bad apple. It happens all the time. Ain't nothing you can do about it. But
that's a good spot. Of course, you've got a lot of good spots. It's funny when you talk to him about a big buck he's seen or a great spot, because he doesn't talk about it in the same way that we would, where it's like the point of our conversation would be, man, Andrew, you ain't never gonna believe this. Jacob, like I walked into this spot, went all the way back in there. There is a freaking monster 10-point, and then it would be like conversation.
Yep.
With him, it's like, well, I went hunting today, and well, you know. Like I got in there, I tripped over a tree and fell. And then I got in there, couldn't find my tree I wanted to climb, so I got in a different one. Finally, I got cold, so I come on back out to the truck. And man, like about 10:30 this morning, I seen something coming, and it was like a freaking 150. You know, when he went walking by, and of course I didn't have my release on. He got by, and I'm like, wait, hang on.
Back
wait
up.
a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Like you saw like a 150. He's like, yeah, but I mean, you know, he just wasn't. I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and he come through in a spot that he wasn't really. I didn't expect him to be. I'm like, "Well, you gonna go in there tomorrow?" Well, no, I'm gonna go back to the tree I was supposed to be in. You know, then it's like, no, like. But that's. I mean, how many times has that happened? How many times have we had that conversation the last 2 years?
Several.
You've seen 4 or 5 good bucks.
I have seen,
and
yeah,
just abandoned. I mean, it was just like he wasn't supposed to be there. I don't know why he was there. I'm out.
Dude, you know, which is mind blowing for me, man, because I have got the opportunity. Like I have put myself in places where it's like, well, geez.
Well, you said last year, you
Yeah.
said, I just don't know how to find a big deer. And I said, you are finding big deer. You just won't hunt them.
Yes, that's the
You find them all the time.
big-
And then you leave them alone.
I can relate with that. Me and my buddy Zach used to have this thing where
Absolutely.
we would find a good spot like that, or we'd see a big deer, and we'd look at each other and be like, "This is a great spot and never come back to." Because
Yeah.
we just did that. I don't know why we do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is a good spot I found on the way to my favorite spot.
I said, Daniel, I just bumped a world-class buck. What do I do? He's like, calm down. You're going to fix and kill it. Do this, do that. Well, didn't see the buck back again. Then I call him, and I said, dude, that was John. He's like, you found him where he was bedded at. Go back in the morning because he's going to be back in there. I'm just going to go on the other WMA.
Whole nother piece of land.
Yeah, and I was like,
"Are
he
you
ain't going to be
serious?"
back.
He's like,
you know?
I done blown that spot out. I'm like,
No, here's
man,
the thing. On that area, they do like, this is what I have noticed. They do like to bed on open timber. Like random areas and open timber.
Well, a lot of bucks do.
And it blew my mind, dude. Like, seriously.
But if they're there, they're there. It doesn't really matter why they're there. But they're going to be back. I mean, it's not.
Remember the first day that we go in that area out there where you went across the road and then I went on the other hauler. Place is destroyed, dude. And all the sign is like right there on the bottom. Is pretty much a creek bed. So I was in between. I was midways in between the top of the ridge and the creek bottom, and I went up high, dude. With that one stick, you can get way up in there. I got a 40-foot long rope, so I was up there, seriously, because I was like, if somebody's side healing, I don't want to be like dead eye level with him. You know, I want to be a little bit higher. Anyways, I heard something, and I just keep looking. There was a good buck walking through. I believe it was a good buck walking through the laurels all the way down, and dude, he stops because, you know, my terminals are pulling straight to him. Busted. Boom. That was the end. I told Daniel, I said, man, that was fantastic. First day, first sit on this place, and I had a really good encounter, yada, yada. I came back what, couple of weeks later, something like that, gun season, and I had a different approach, dropping another drainage, cross another creek, came back up, and I said, instead of sitting on the bottom, I'm gonna sit in that area on top just to see if I can find them because it's a really nice thicket. There it was about 1:30 in the evening. I've been there all day, nothing, you know. So I said, you know what? I don't really do this much because I don't learn the lesson, but I'm gonna hit them bridles just to see if I can call something from the thicket into this opening right here. And I hit him as soon as I did that. Dude, he was better like 40 yards on the thicket. Blows up. He didn't like that noise, man.
And now that was where I told you to go sit where I had the camera.
Yeah. Blows up and bolts out. And I had a rifle in my hands. I was like, golly. There he goes. That was it for the day.
He calls me and he says, hey, he said, you want to come hunt with me today? So I got a spot over there I'm going to go to if you just want to ride over there. I said, yeah, that'd be fine. So I look at the map and I found a spot across the road. I was like, well, I'll just go down in there. Well, I always keep a camera in my backpack all the time, just in case. So we get over there. I said, I'm going to go off this creek, go down in here. Yeah. So this is where he was screaming at me that night when I come out. I go all the way back down in there, and I just keep walking. I found a few oaks dropping, a little bit of few small tracks, nothing I liked. I just kept going. Finally, come up on this little spot, this little bench, and a fresh scrape on it, and a pretty good sized rub.
Yeah.
And I was like, heck! So I just got in a tree. I was like, I'm about to kill a buck right here. Well, right at dark, 3 does come off the hill and walked right by me about 20 yards. So when I got down at dark, I went over there and hung that camera and come out. Well, you called me that day and you said, hey, I'm thinking about going over there. Would you mind if I sat down there where you put your camera? I said, no, you need to. Like, go in here. It's right here. I sent him a pen. I said, you go right to it. So we went down in there, and that's where you sat. Yep. I didn't see nothing that morning.
Yeah.
Now, I checked the camera, and it had, by that time.
No, it was, remember in the morning, a doe, like, remember in the morning, a doe came running.
Yeah, that's right.
All goofy and all that stuff, and I thought that something wasn't on her.
Right. Yeah, because that was a few weeks later, because I had checked that camera, and it had 5 bucks on it. Three 8-points, one pretty nice 8-point, but they were all in the afternoon. Well, he went over there in the morning, and I said, well, if you're going to go in the morning, you ought to go off the top of that hill and sit up high above the bottom, and maybe something will come through there, but there's nothing on camera in the mornings at all. So you went over there in the morning and seen that doe, and then decided that you were going, instead of hunting the evening where all the deer were at in the evening, you decided to go up there on that thicket. That's when you scared that buck.
Yeah, man. And he was a good one,
He called me and said, man, he said, you're never going to believe what I did. I said, did you see one? Yeah. But I climbed down and decided to go up there on top. And I climbed that other spot, and I scared a buck off. And I was like.
Now, because going back to what we were saying about the learning curve, right? Sometimes, dude, I love podcasts and all that stuff because I learn a lot. But a lot of times it gets like into technicalities till the point where I don't really understand much because I'm not in that point yet. Right? We discussed that I'm on this like low intermediate.
Well, everybody's personality is different too. Like the way that you are, you like to learn from experience.
Yeah.
Like it's you take any kind of criticism well, and you when somebody tells you how to do something, you take it to heart. But you also are not afraid at all to try something on your own and make that mistake, because that to you is what proves it to you. You almost like to prove somebody wrong or right, regardless.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like to me,
that's a good thing, really. I mean,
well, to me that further educates you. It makes you get confidence in what you were told rather than taking somebody's word for it. Because I mean, the world we live in now, you can hear a lot of bad information.
Yeah.
If you took everybody's word for everything, you'd never learn anything.
Because that goes back to when I was learning. I was watching these guys from the Midwest. Everything that they do up there is nonetheless to
almost
what we
irrelevant.
do. Yeah, it's completely relevant to what we do down here, right? So I was getting the wrong lead, and I don't know how I kept going for 3 years without seeing a deer, and it was because I was making the wrong mistakes over and over and over again because I was basing myself on this information, right? I didn't have no leads. I didn't have No, nobody there. Everybody talks about killing big deer. Oh, yeah, we're fixing to go kill it, blah, blah, but nobody wants to go out there and put the work that gets to it. Nobody wants to go and walk into it and things like that. Everybody wants a free ride. All the people that told me, "Oh, we're gonna kill them," they don't even hunt. Dude, so I was pretty much on my own, rolling my own game, and things like that can really screw me over because I feel like I'm in a very delicate phase. The buck from last year in Tennessee was really nice, but it didn't spoil me. So finally, I got a good one, but I'm just going back to basics once again. And whenever I get the feeling, or whenever I get the confirmation, or something else happened, that yes, you done move up, from the low end to the middle end. Now you can start passing a few more bugs and things of that nature. But I just don't get me wrong. I don't want to shoot no more spikes because I got enough, But I'm damn proud of every one of them, dude. Like every single one of them, man. I'm proud of them. Even though the people's like, "Oh, that's a little bitty buck." It's not about
man, if
that.
you know what it went into,
Yes,
what went into killing that.
Only if you know what I have gone through just to get to the spot where I can put my hands around them. And then unfortunately, social media, you get people with small bugs, and it's so much hate on these comments, man. It's a shame. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, dude, people don't understand. And I guess I'm gonna get off topic here in just a second, but people don't understand, dude, like the privilege that you have, that we have, for living on the best country of the world, right? People don't understand the blessing that it is.
It's a lot different than shooting monkeys with a slingshot.
Yes, being a born and raised U.S. citizen. Like, you are blessed by God, and people take that for granted. People always whine and complain about everything. Thanks to the brave men of the U.S. military, brave men and women of the U.S. military, guys like us wake up every day knowing that we are free and that we can go out there, chase our goals, our dreams, and follow whatever we want to follow. People take stuff like that for granted all the time, dude. And they're so ungrateful and so disrespectful towards the nation itself. They're really like, dude, I'm a foreigner, and it hurts my feelings, right? Because I call this place home. This is the place where I want to die. This is the place where I will die, And I remember when I was being sworn as a naturalized U.S. citizen, the flag was waving and the national anthem was playing, and I was about to tear up because I feel it. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'm the living proof that the American dream is still out there. You have to go and chase it because nothing's going to give it to you for free, but you have to go out there and chase it, right? And these days, dude, unfortunately, the only thing that everybody complains about is, "Why I don't have it for free," or "I just don't want to work for it," or "It's just too much work," or "It's just this." And nobody wants to appreciate, the privilege that we have, the way of living that we can accomplish, like from enjoying God's creation, the outdoors, like the privilege that is hunting. A lot of us do it for meat and all that stuff. But dude, there's people, I'm talking about third world countries, where they don't have the same rights that we do, of course. And as much as we complain and as much as we whine, we are living somebody else's dream life with all the troubles and all the tribulations that we have, right? So I guess that's one of the reasons I have a different approach. And I don't know, it's like a different view of the things. That's what I'm always so positive, so thankful with God. Every day that I wake up, I'm like, yes, I'm still here. Right. It's not a dream. It's the dream that I just don't want to wake out of it.
Yeah, and I guess that's why it's so much fun hunting with you. Like you're talking about, after all these years being able to hunt with him, is it kind of reminds you why you want to go to begin with. But like I said, you're just always happy to be there. You don't see it too many people that are anymore. It's people are working all the time, or they're having to go when it's convenient. And then if they're not successful, then it's like, they finally got a day off and then wasn't successful.
Yeah.
Whereas with you, like you'll spend an entire week at work thinking about that one day you're going to go to the woods, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe see a doe.
Dude, yeah, and if I can get it, I'm as happy as it can be. Dude, I'm still getting the shakes with those. Oh my God, man! I cannot control myself. I'm like, God Almighty, you know. And it's a doe, you know. Like the other day that I had that doe with triplets, I was gonna have. I didn't even want to look at him, you know. And it just, I don't know, dude. I love this. I really enjoy this and love this. And now I've been warned. People's like, I do not do any duck hunting. I never done any duck hunting before, and I never done any turkey hunting before. They're like, do not do it. Because he was going to ruin you forever, you know? And so I'm like, maybe one of these days.
All right, you're coming with us this spring.
Oh,
we're
boy.
doing some. We're going to ruin you.
It's also time for us to go start going offshore fishing.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. You know, I know all about that deep sea fishing, but we're going to do it. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm really pumped about that, too. But when it comes to hunting and doing all that stuff around here, oh, my goodness, yes. I mean, dude, just look how lucky and blessed we are that we can do all these things.
Well, I mean, how
over
much
and
fun
over.
is it just sitting around? Like you come over sometimes to my shop, just sit
Yeah.
around for 5 hours, and we
Just-
do nothing except look at deer antlers.
Yeah,
And it's like
Just
look,
that.
it's like look at this.
And
You know
dude,
what I mean?
I be like this. I'm down in the shop, and then I'm just out there mounting a bug or whatever, and I'm just like, look at that thing right here.
Because I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know how you are, but like in my brain, like I'll still pick up a deer and turn it to the side and think about what it looked like walking. You know what I mean? Like when I was a little
Yep.
kid, I was that way. I'd look at other people's mounts before I'd ever killed a big buck, and I was like, man, what would that be like seeing that in the wild? Like actually seeing that walking across the field. And not even my own deer. Like I'll be sitting in the house.
Remember-
Like Jeremy was making fun of me that day that I shot that last 8-point, and he said, he said, are you going to cape that deer out? Because I didn't take him straight to Weaver's to have him processed. I was like, no, we're taking him to the house, getting the cape off of him first. He said, for what? I said, because I want to clean his antlers so I can put it up at the house so I can stare at him every few minutes.
Dude,
You know, but I'll be sitting there, I'll just pick him up. Christy will be over there just dying laughing. She's like, I can't believe you still do that. I'm like, it's just I don't know what it is. Like it's an obsession hunting. Like hunting's fun.
Yeah.
I said, but just I said, I still can't believe that I killed this deer. I said, I've killed a bunch of them. I said, but every one of them, I'm like, I can't believe that happened again. Because I still get the same feeling as when I was 10.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll probably never see a buck. And
It's
then you
like-
kill one, it's like, I cannot believe I just did that. Like,
Yeah.
to me, it
Oh,
still
my gosh.
blows my mind. You're sitting there, I'll just hold the rack. I'm like, and that's what he was facing when he was walking through the woods, and I could actually see it. Like, when you see that rack on a deer's head come through the woods, it's just like, you know.
It is so
like-
addicting. There's few things that kind of make you feel like that too. That's how it was with my buck in Kansas. Like we were watching the footage before we
Yeah,
got
man.
started. Dude, after I shot it, like me and Seth, my camera guy, looked at each other and I was like,
It's like,
Wh-
did that
what?
really? Yeah, it's like, what in the world?
there's not many things that make you do that where it literally takes your brain a minute to process it. You're like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't know how many times talking about that deer I've said when he took off, I could see the triangle in his rib cage. I was like, that was like it was like whack, because I mean it was like doe, buck, and I was already at full draw shot, and I just saw the arrow just zip, and I saw that big triangle when he run off, and I was just like, I mean, I'll never forget that hole.
yeah,
I was like,
is-
that was in the right place.
Dude,
You know what I
it's-
mean? Like the biggest deer I've ever seen, and that hole was in the right place. Like it's just like, I mean, you just can't believe it, you know?
Yeah.
And
It's
it
like-
happens every time it happens again. It's like, I can't believe that just happened again.
So when you talk about big deer, I guess the first time that I actually get to like actually seeing what a big Midwestern deer was when I saw your buck come in his shop. I said, "What is this?" Like, I said,
Yeah,
"Damn
yeah.
it, what
That's
is
actually
that
what he
thing?"
says. Like, what is that?
Yeah, he's like, "That's Jacob's buck," and I said, "Dude, what? Where, dude?" When you compare, like, that's when you actually understand a little bit more, like, when it comes to like nutrition, topography, whatever everything together, like how different these things like are. In fact, you know, like that's a stud, and even though they only have one side, it don't matter, man. It's just a monster.
It's like
buck.
their skeletons
Yes.
are bigger. Like
Well,
the
that's
deer
the
is
thing.
like
The
inches
whole-
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole skeleton is so much bigger that then the rack is just bigger because it's bone. You know, it's like the whole animal, and they got long hair. And,
See, I would have, if you would have let me know that you wanted to see that deer, I would have brought him over here. I was looking at him this morning, and it's like you look at that deer and his head, just like how wide across his
Yes.
brow it is compared
Between
to all
his
the other bucks. Even
eyes.
my other Iowa buck I've killed, it makes the other Iowa buck look small because I never got that deer aged. The second one, the first one was aged at like between 4.5 and 5.5 is what taxidermist up there said. But that second one, his head is just gigantic.
He's a small heifer, to be honest. I mean, he's just the way that, like, I'm looking at this deer right here.
Well, he had a
man.
lot of white in his fur too, didn't he?
Yeah,
just
it real
old,
gray
real
face.
crazy, like red head and white
His
hair.
jawline, the skeleton on top, everything is just way bigger. Like
Yeah.
he's a big.
It's really
big
impressive
buck.
seeing him hanging next to the
Yes.
other deer. Like when I had him in my shop, you got 20 Alabama deer, and then that one. You walk in there, it's like, what is that? Where'd
Yeah,
that? It looks like a mule deer almost. Even the color of him.
Outstandingly big. And I seen your buck too. That
Yeah.
was a hell of a buck right
But
there.
and same thing, that Kansas deer, he's like blonde around his ears. I mean, like super
Pretty.
light colored. And all our deer around here, they're all kind of like black. They got like a lot of them have that black streak going right down
Yeah.
their neck. And that was like he's just super blonde. I guess living out in that prairie or whatever. But it's fun, dude. But I want to kick it back here, getting towards the end. Going to wrap up about talking about Pablo. Like you going out and getting mentorship from all these guys.
Yeah.
And we touched on it a little bit, how you went to Mr. Tony's house and you sought him out, and you said one thing earlier, and I think it's so important that I want to completely reiterate it right now, and that is when you go and find a mentor or you find someone who wants to take you out and take you under their wing, you approach it with no ego.
Yeah.
And you don't expect to have anything. You're not looking to go and be set in the woods somewhere and just, show them what to do. Like you want to work at it and you actually want to get better. And, like don't lean on a shovel and pray for a hole. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys out there, we get messages all the time who are like, I just can't meet anybody. I don't know how to go meet anybody. And it's like, well, have you really tried? Like if you ask yourself, have you really tried to go and actually meet people? And if you did go meet people, did you approach it with no ego? Like, did you
Were you
approach
acting
it
like
truly
you were
as a
trying
student?
to apply yourself
And also
rather than use
some-
theirs?
Yeah.
Something really important, not expecting results.
Yeah.
Is a process. It must be respected.
Yeah.
Regardless how long it is. If you really want to commit to it, and if you would really want to respect this person's time that is sharing with you, trying to teach you, you must put your ego away out the door. Expect nothing and learn as much as you can and patiently wait until it happens.
Well, and yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like the addiction of, to me, like trying to help you, it's funny because you were talking about how I'm patient with you. But the thing is, because of your refusal to do exactly what I say and copy me, because of your like patience and trying to come up with your own technique, it's almost like it addicts me to try and help you more, if that makes sense. It's almost like the more that you try to resist doing exactly what I say, the more it makes me want to mentor you because you're trying so hard to do it your way that I can respect that.
I appreciate it.
You know what I mean?
dude.
Because
Yeah.
that's a lot of people, because man, I do have a lot of people come to me asking me questions and how to do this and that. But 9 times out of 10, it's, man, you keep killing all these big deer. Like, where do I need to go?
Yeah.
Or what do I need to do? And it's like, well, Pablo came and he told me, hey, this is what I did. Why is it not working?
Yeah.
This is where I went. Where should I have gone? You know what I mean? You already did the work and then asked my opinion about it. And then I told you my opinion and you went and tried something different to see if I was wrong or right.
Yeah.
And that right there makes me want to help you over and over and over. And I think it's weird thinking of it from the other side, but I think if people knew that they need to approach it from that way, like you said, don't expect results.
Yeah, you just
but
can't.
start trying before you ask for help.
Yeah.
And then ask for what you didn't learn. Because, if you want to be opinionated with somebody, then you should have tried it for yourself and see if you're right first.
Yeah.
When you realize you're wrong, then you know what to ask. But I don't know, you can really respect somebody as somebody who enjoys teaching people. I got way more respect for you coming to me saying, I have exhausted my opportunities. Like I have completely, like I've tried everything. So what is happening? Like what is missing?
I said most of the times I ask, where am I failing?
And see, that's fun. Like trying to figure out that puzzle. That's part of deer hunting. Like that's what we used to do in deer camp. When you sat around camp before you had maps and all this other stuff, you sat around talking about all the big bucks. Now people's secret about it. But used to, it was like, man, I saw this deer and he was here, but I haven't seen him again. What do y'all think he's doing? And everybody sits around and it's like, well, if this is happening, he may be here. If this is happening, and you try to come up with a strategy, and everybody tries to get each other a strategy. And then everybody tries to help each other be successful. And that's what was fun about deer camp in the 80s and 90s, is that all you had to go by was sightings and what everybody had seen. Collectively, you could put together a plan because everybody had a little piece of the puzzle. And that's what's fun about him, is that you'll go find pieces of the puzzle, and it's fun to me trying to find that one missing piece, and then you go try to apply it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. You know what I mean? It's exciting for me. It's exciting for you. And in the meantime, we're working toward a common goal.
Learn.
Yeah,
together.
learning, just constantly learning.
Well, and also, I think there's a big aspect of being grateful, thankful, and respectful to whoever is trying to mentor you. If you do have that opportunity to be able to meet somebody that's willing to kind of give you some advice and kind of work through it, because I think that's a huge aspect. Is like, especially the respectful aspect of someone like. Great example. If like someone shows you a spot, be like, hey, this is one of my spots I like to hunt. This is the reason why. This is why the deer are coming through here. But they're not openly telling you to go hunt it. Do not go back.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't like if they're actually going to take you and show you an area and why it's good, but it's one of their areas they hunt. Respect them that you're not going back in there unless they tell you, hey, you should go hunt that spot.
Dude.
And go find your own version of that.
Let me tell you an example of that. The first day that I ever met him, well, aside from the day I met you at Parker's Taxidermy, you told me, you said, would you mind going with me and helping, just letting me scout with you to kind of show me what to look for? And I said, I'll tell you, I'll do something better than that. My favorite spot, I got to go and I got to put up a camera. Or my favorite spot that I found scouting last year.
Oh yeah, that we have. Oh,
that was the first day that we
yeah.
ever went. I said, if you want to go, we'll go in there and I'll show you exactly what it looks like where a giant buck lives, and that will give you an idea of what to look for. Well, we got over there and we're way.
Yeah, dude. God Almighty, the gate was closed to make it worse.
It was like 2 miles.
Yeah.
It was like 2 miles before we even dropped off the road, and it was like another mile and a half or something like that to some horrible stuff. But anyway, we got in there, and I told him, I said, so when you look back at your map, just kind of repeat this, like, and go from there. When you find sign, you can kind of branch out, and you'll realize what the deer are doing in that whole area, and you can start looking for bits and pieces of that terrain in different places. And he was like, well, I don't have it on my map. And I said, well, mark it on your map. He said, no. He said, I went ahead and turned my GPS off because I didn't want to be able to find where you were hunting.
I did that with Mr.
Without
Michael
being
too.
asked. You know what I mean? When he said that, I was making a YouTube video that day, and I said it on the YouTube video. I said, the reason why I bring him in here with me is because he just told me that he'd turned his location off so he would not be able to find this spot again.
Dude, and I did that.
And that was his idea. Like I didn't tell him that. I was like, no, turn it on, and you can look back at the topography of this area.
I've been able to realize how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's really hard. So I really respect people's time and the time they get to put in to finding a spot like that is tremendous, right? So when you take me to a spot or something like that, we go hunting on this place. Let's go together. We hunt on this place. I will not get back to that area without you or without your permission. And one of the examples is when I called you. Remember, you were in Missouri, and I said, dude, can I go up here? He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Like, yes. And I was like, oh, sweet. Why are you asking for permission for? And I said, because we went in there together, right? I just like to respect that way. Even when I went with Mr. Michael, turn my stuff off because, dude, I'm being blessed enough that I get to see him in person. You know what I mean? That means more than anything else. Mm-hmm. I can actually try to recreate this somewhere else, and at the end of the day, that's what we talk about.
Yeah, and we've done the same, hunting with our buddy Wes Moe. He's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's taken us to spots, and I've literally never been back to there unless he invites us to go hunt.
Exactly.
But, by doing that and learning, one of the spots he took us to, he's hunted for 40 years. He took me to the general area. He's like, you climb any of these trees? I've climbed these trees for 40 years. And a lot of them have already been cut, and now these are replanted since then. But seeing historically why there's deer there has helped us go into other places and find that same kind of thing in other areas.
It is amazing. That's why I love hunting with people so much and going to new pieces of property and scouting with new people and stuff, because it's like we talked about a few years ago, throwing around the idea of maybe doing like a almost like a scouting competition.
Oh,
where you
yeah,
get where you get in teams of 2 and see who can find the most sign and stuff. Because what's fun is if you've got a piece of land where you're not necessarily showing everybody your spots, but just a random piece of property, it's really cool to be able to see what somebody's favorite spot is based on whatever your land you're on. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, man, you'll go in there. Like fortunately, I've had the opportunity to hunt a lot of different kinds of properties with a lot of different kinds of deer hunters. And so, like when you show me a certain piece of land, it's like, well, if there's cedars or if there's pines or if there's a swamp or if there, it's like you start trying to figure stuff out based on where you're at. But it's cool to be able to go for that first time if you've never ever hunted around pine thickets. If you've never hunted a swamp or never hunted water or anything, like it's cool to go with somebody, because 9 times out of 10, when they're like, you need to be right here, you're looking at it and you're like, nah. It's like, not based on what I know, you know what I mean? And I'm a deer hunter. Like what I know, we should go over here, and you don't see anything, but it's like, you start realizing, like the deer actually, it's kind of common sense almost. It's like, well, the deer used this because of this, but you don't know until you know. And it's cool being able to just get plopped down in that spot and somebody be like, this is my favorite place.
Well, another cool thing, Pablo, like you mentioned, is Mr. Tony Myers took you out and actually showed you different areas and was willing to show you that, whether you took him up on it or not, but he gave you the option, like, hey, these are areas that are actually good. And at least the way you explained it seemed like he was like, go have fun with it if you want to.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you got to realize if you have a mentor that does that to you, like that is very meaningful. Mm-hmm. Like don't take that with a grain of salt. Like that, if they're actually showing like, hey, I personally have hunted these areas. I don't hunt it anymore. If you want to go in there, I've had a lot of success. Go try it. Always take that as like they're giving you information and helping you out more so than you probably even realize when they're doing that.
It's a gift. You're skipping. They're not telling how many years or as long as it could have took you to find something like that. You're skipping that up. They're just pretty much giving you that.
And to that point too, if you're going to mentor somebody, or if somebody comes to you for help, and if you're willing to show somebody something and then go and get mad at them, I've heard some horror stories about like kids that have come to me asking me about certain stuff, and somebody showed them something or somewhere, and then they tried to hunt and then got cussed completely out. Like if you either have to tell somebody not to go in there, or you got to be willing to show them something that they can hunt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or just be honest with them. Like, hey, this is an area that I hunt. Kind of like you taking Pablo into one of your areas. It's an area I hunt. I just want to show you as an example. And hopefully you have a decent enough relationship with that person, the mentoree, that they respect that. Yeah. Because we've all heard and known people that like, where they just didn't understand that process of like they showed something that the mentor actually personally hunted as an example, but not for you to go back in there and they think it's a green card, like hunt it whenever you want. Yeah. And that's how you burn bridges and you piss people off, unfortunately, because you didn't either think through the process of why they were showing you something, or you just never even asked about potentially going back in there. Because sometimes you ask and they might be like, sure, if you want to. And then other people are like, no, that's one of my areas.
It's like I told you about your phone that day. I said, don't turn it on. I said, I'm not going to show you a spot you can't hunt. I said, if you go in there with me somewhere, then
that is true.
I mean, it's as much yours as it is as mine. You know what I mean? Like if I show it to you, you can hunt it. I don't care.
We usually 90% of the times it'll be on the other side.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, I can give you a picture and a date, and you'll be like, I think I'm going to go to Georgia.
Well, it's like Shane Parker. He took last year when I was bow hunting up there with him and Michael Pike. I was getting my teeth kicked in this one spot. He's like, man, I got a spot. There's a little watering hole. He's like, I got a camera there. There's bucks on it all the time. I don't care to hunt it. If you want to go in there, you go hunt it. I'm like, I'll try it. He sent me the pin, drove over there, walked in. He kind of taught me how to like get in there. Walked in, ended up not setting up correctly. Had does come in, but I was set too high up the ridge. And he's like, dude, when you got down and left, I had bucks on camera. They were there. He's like, they were in that thick stuff down below you. I'm like, oh, good to know. But like, again, one of those spots I've never been back to. But it's cool when someone's willing to do that for you and you actually go out there and see, like, first off, why did they think it was a good spot, or why do they know it's a good spot based off because they've hunted it? And then you get in there, and then you're trying to figure out, like, okay, like what I was thinking, like, what did Shane see in that area? And there was good habitat edge, some hardwoods right there that were dropping, acorns dropping, thick creek bottom, a little water hole right there in the bottom of the drainage. Had a bunch of different stuff all coming together in one little spot. So it's cool to kind of see that, but also it's one of those things that, like, if someone like Shane was like, yeah, go hunt it. I'm not going to keep going in there. I'm just going to go in the one time, don't see anything,
Right.
or like saw something cool. I'm not going back unless,
There's something to be
specified.
said about finding your own spot. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I told you about scouting. Don't ever feel like if me and you go scouting, I always get dibs. You know what I mean? If I invite you to go scouting, like I've got spots. Like if me and you gonna go scouting, like you said, you need spots. You need some spots. You need some date ranges. Where you can start setting up a plan for future years. So we need to go scout. Just like I go scout. Like I don't like to go by myself. It's dangerous for one thing. But when we're off, we need to scout, and it needs to be for your spots. We're gonna go in there regardless of what we find. It's Pablo's. If it's the biggest stuff we've ever found in my life, then it's Pablo's spot. You know what I mean? So
That
you don't
is
ever want
funny,
to.
yeah.
You don't ever want to always give yourself not enough credit. Like when you get that invitation, like take advantage and hunt those places. You know what I mean? Don't feel like you're second to me if we go scouting together, because that's the point. You know what I mean? Like we need to find you places that you've got confidence in, that you can go to on specific days and be successful.
Yeah.
But you can't find them if you don't go. You know what I
Especially
mean?
if you bounce around too much.
Well, and like I
what
said,
it
bouncing around is perfect if you know the dates to do it.
Yeah.
But you can. I hunted so many times, man, so many years where I hunted the perfect spots, all the wrong times. But I wasn't checking. I'd check cameras when I went in there to hunt it, and I would just check cameras and look at what I had on camera. And I'd either have deer on camera 2 weeks ago, or I'd check my camera when I went to go pull it, and they were in there after I'd left. And I was like, man, I missed them. That went on for 5 years. And finally I got to realize, and I was like, I'm not missing them. They're not there. I'm not there at the right time, but once you got those times, then you can bounce. I mean, you can bounce and bounce and bounce, but you're always in those right places for the right few days, and you're not hunting at the mercy of guessing.
Hanging and hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so awful because, I remember when I heard that episode,
don't
I was
hang
like-
and hope, hang and hunt, baby.
Yeah.
hang and kill. Yeah. And I was like, oh, man, I've been hanging and hoping for years.
Well, but a lot of times you're in good spots. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, like hanging and hoping isn't necessarily like if you've got a whole bunch of sign stuff. I mean, you're really doing what you think you need to be doing, but most people assume that they're just either scaring the deer, or they've been in there too much and blew the area out, or they just aren't lucky.
Yeah.
When in fact they probably are just not there the right times of the year.
Side note, real quick, before we have to wrap up because we're running out of time. Andrew, tell me if I've already said this. Did I already ask you about your 2 bucks you killed this year in Alabama? Timing.
Maybe you did.
Was it on the podcast though? Because I think
No,
let me-
it wasn't on the podcast.
So we've had people message us. You've killed 2 Alabama bucks. You killed your Missouri buck, which is laying here in front of us. Your 2 Alabama bucks. We've had some listeners reach out and asking if those were based off annual data and how close they were and all that kind of
The
stuff. Could
first,
you
well, the
get 'em?
first 8 point was the one that we had on
Yeah,
camera,
yeah.
on video. It was within the same week, in the same exact spot, within 5 yards,
Which is crazy.
within the same 15 minutes of a day. You know what I mean? It was a few days different, but same week. The next one, I actually killed the same exact day that I had a buck on camera 2 years before in the same spot, but I also killed him the same day I killed a buck last year within less than half a mile. It was like 0.4 miles away. Basically, I'm hunting the same deer on a different ridge system, and killed him on the same exact day that I killed my good buck last year in the same estrus cycle. Yeah. So, I mean, it was, matter of fact, like I said, the next week, I should have bucked out the first day I sat, which would have been 1 day earlier than I got a picture of a big buck last year. And I went in there knowing, I was like, I'm going to buck out today. And I walked in there and I just scared the buck. He come up behind me and I just bumped him. But I saw 3 bucks that morning. But, while everybody else has been struggling with sign, and they're leaving very good spots because they're going and checking them and there's no sign, and they're leaving. And I'm going to the same places where I know I need to be, and I've seen bucks at every single one of them.
Yeah, because you said you've seen like 14 rack bucks,
I've
or
seen-
14 bucks in like, I forgot how long.
About 3 weeks, and
Yeah,
I've seen
which is a
I've seen
ton.
several. I've seen like 5 or 6 8 points. Like good, like decent deer. I've seen several good deer, but there's no reason. Like if you went in there scouting, there is no reason to sit there at any of those places right now. There's 0 scrapes, no rubs. I mean, just barren.
But they're still coming through.
But the does are there. You know what I mean? And you won't see does there the rest of the year. I mean, you won't get pictures of does, but they're there. They're in heat. The bucks are chasing them. It's just like it's wide open rut. except there's zero sign. You know, just physically looking, you would not without some kind of historical data. And now, you know, if based on what I saw last year and the year before, I could have gone and done the same exact thing with no camera data. You know what I mean? So there again, if anybody that's ever killed a big buck anywhere, they need to know the date and the tree to get in, because it really does work. I mean, it sounds too good to be true. It really does.
Yeah, but it is.
But
It
if
is
you
true.
if you look back
It
at
is
your
true.
own data, usually it's going to line up with that just those doe dates. I mean, it's the easiest way to try to predict rut.
Episode 584, everybody. Go listen to it.
Yeah, I'll link that down below.
And also, we don't have time to go over the full story, but we picked him up one time. But Daniel, show people your Missouri buck real quick. Just a tank. Dude, the pictures don't do him justice. I'm
No.
gonna be honest. When I saw pictures of him, I'm like, dang, dude, like Daniel killed a good one. But when you brought him out here, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, like I said, he's narrow. I mean, he's only 15 inches wide.
You can do bicep curls. That rack's
the
so
way
It's
heavy.
a mass.
Yeah, the way
man.
it
The
curls,
mass of
you
that
just
thing.
don't realize what you got. I mean, he's got 22-inch main beam, so if he was wide, I mean, the deer was 137 3/8 with a broken brow tine. It's probably missing 4 inches, 4 to 5 inches. So I mean, he's over 140-inch deer as basically a mainframe 8. So I mean, that's a lot of mass.
That's a lot of mass.
you know. But
Stud.
I mean, with a bow like I never in my life.
Is that going on your YouTube channel?
Not only that, I'm full body mounting this deer.
What?
No, yeah, nobody
your
really
first one?
knows that yet. So
You gonna practice?
Well, I
You-
think-
saying it on the Southern Outdoors.
Let's
with it.
go. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Matter of fact, might as well give a shout out to Justin Martindale. He started taxidermy full time this year too. He quit his job, and me and him were going to double team this deer. I told Justin what I wanted to do. He's the one that invited me to Missouri. They had a guy that wasn't going to be able to go, and he was like, "Man, you ought to come with us." I was like, "When are y'all going?" And he's like, "Well, next week." And I got to thinking, I was like, "I think I will." I said, "You care if I ride with you?" He says, "Yeah, come on." I was like, "All right." Well, I go up there day one, kill this this thing, you know. And so I told Justin, I said, "Man, which I mean, you know, if you've seen the video with killing, I cried like a daggum baby." Justin texted me. He said, "Man," he said, "what are you doing right now?" It'd been about 2 hours. I said, "I'll be honest with you." I said, "I'm sitting here bawling my eyes out." I said, "I'm just sitting on the ground beside the deer." I said, "I can't believe this is happening." And but I told Justin when he got over there, I said, "Man, I've been thinking." I said, "What I want to do," I said, "I want to pay you to full body mount this deer, and I'm going to help." I said, "But I want to pay you just like you were going to mount it for me, because you invited." I wouldn't have killed this deer if you hadn't invited me up here. But I said, just to give you some publicity, we'll advertise for your taxidermy shop, make me a YouTube video. I said, it'll be one of my best YouTube videos I've ever had, because we're going to do a form alteration. It's going to be a full body mount walking uphill. And we're going to do rot. We're going to do CRP grass, maybe even some water, artificial water at the bottom, because we
Sweet.
water
That's good.
accessed, you know. And then we're going to chop his whole shoulder and head off the form. And I'm putting a Mears full sneak form on there, fully turned like a wall pedestal. We're going to integrate that into the full body mount.
Oh, so he's like looking back over his
It's-
shoulder.
He's coming up. He's going to be coming uphill and then out and turned where he's looking down, like he's coming up over the hill. He's going to be like that right there, coming up over a hill. And I'm doing an open mouth like he's grunting. It's going to be like eye roll back, ears pinned, like every alteration that you can think of, we're going to do on this deer for the first time, basically. We're going to video the whole thing.
Oh, that's going to be
So
awesome.
That's a Missouri public land deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So where can people find that? Where's your YouTube channel?
The Cedar Ridge Chronicles.
Nice.
Yep. Which I'm still at 19,000 subscribers after making fun of them. In October, I said, y'all going to have to get on the ball, because y'all been doing this all these years.
Oh, that's
And
right.
now here I am at 16,000 subscribers. Y'all are at 15. I done passed y'all. Now they done hit 40.
42.
We at 42 today.
Yeah, 42.
Well, whatever. I mean, I still
But
ain't
who's counting?
I still ain't at 20 yet. So needless to say, I've been eating crow. But there again, what I do have to ask, you quit your job
I did.
and went from 16 to 42. So
Yep.
what were you doing this entire time?
He was going to Iowa and shooting a bunch of deer. That's what he was
Like
doing.
16 to 42. But I'm so confused. What?
Yeah.
Like subscriber count.
Oh yeah, I was talking about subscribers. I said Andrew quit, and y'all jumped up 30,000
Well,
subscribers. So what happened?
listen,
Look to the moon.
Which I promise you, anytime he's been spending at work, y'all's been putting content on there now. Because if there was ever a YouTube channel pumping out content, Like I am thoroughly impressed. Which I mean, that's that's what y'all do.
Trust
for
me, it's a
living.
full-time job.
Oh yeah,
That's it. Well, it is. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I struggle trying to get as much. I've got 100 videos I want to make, and just zero time. If I'm trying to hunt and like this time of year with taxidermy and stuff, man, it's hard. But really, like y'all are. I mean, doing full length videos once a day, and then also adding in short content on all platforms and things. I mean, it's y'all are pumping it out. That's how you keep that algorithm going. It is working. It's freaking impressive.
It is definitely working.
Well, we're going to get you over 20,000. So everybody go subscribe.
Yeah.
Chronicles on YouTube. Links down in the show notes below.
Let's go. Let's go.
maybe I get
Awesome channel. Hunting content, fishing content, a lot of saltwater, which is fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
Yeah, I've been dabbling in a little bit of everything. It's getting a little bit better now that I've gotten a little bit better with camera, but still pretty rough.
No,
My old videos are terrible.
yeah, yeah. I seen one from like what was it, 2009
Well,
maybe? Or
no,
something like
I
that?
just started 3 years ago.
No. The one that we saw way back there on that property.
Oh, you talking about one of my old videos that I put on my channel?
Yeah.
I videoed that. It was a long
Like
time ago.
2009 is like
Nice.
Yeah,
But it's
was
nice
old.
seeing the progression, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, I actually really quick. I bought my bow on Mark's Outdoors
Oh.
years ago because I heard that on the podcast, and I'm left-hand shooter when it comes to the bow. So I remember I went out there and I was like, hey, yeah, I came out here because of the podcast, and I can't remember if it was golly, I forgot his name.
It's Mark
Robbie?
Smith or
Robbie.
Robbie. One of
Yeah.
the they called me or something afterwards. Like, hey,
Robbie talked to me about you. He's like,
Really?
that guy's awesome. Yeah, he's fired up, dude.
Yeah, and they set me up, and that's been. I remember. I want to say that Mark, he was hunting bear in North Carolina or something like that.
Robbie hunting bears in North Georgia.
So somebody was hunting bears, and the other guy helped me out, and they had a Hoyt and a Matthews. I'm not a brand, die hard kind of dude. Just whatever feels the best, whatever I like. Hold both of them. Matthews feel a little bit better. Shot him, like it. I said, this is the one, and since then, dude, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank y'all for hooking me up like that day.
Nice, man.
Just
Yeah,
pointing
Parks
in the right
Outdoors,
direction.
Vestavia, Alabama. If you're in
Yeah.
Birmingham, go check them out. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Good
Awesome.
dude.
Sweet. Yeah. And note taken.
Yeah.
Try not to drop your bow out of the tree some more. It'll last you a lot longer.
Yes, yeah. They usually last long if you actually take care of them. But so
You try to take care of it. That's what
No,
counts.
I got lucky because we had some snow at that time. So it was in pine needles and about 6 inches of snow. So I was the cushion right there because he fell straight on the limb and it bounced up, dude, straight up that way. I don't know how. Not a
That's
nick.
terrible.
Not a nick. Just fine.
Luck.
I've never had that happen.
Knocking
Keep
on wood.
knocking on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't drop my rifle too, and he fell inside of in a soft area, like a muddy place.
Barrel down?
No, barrel pointing straight up at me, and it's fully loaded. And I'm there on the tree, like rappelling myself down, trying to rappel myself down on the other side of the tree, and I'm like, safety was on,
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
Guys,
Cool, boys.
man, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This really means a lot. I really appreciate it. It's amazing. And it means a lot, because it's with Daniel too. So
Well, we'll have you back on when you kill a big old giant buck, man.
we will see how it's going to go. Sooner or later, but it will happen.
It'll happen.
And just to wrap it up, just going to say it right here on the camera. God bless America. And like somebody else has said, y'all stay Southern.
Oh, got it. That's how we're ending it.
Bingo. Yeah.
That's it.